Hello, hello. Testing, testing. I think Umbreon can hear me. Hopefully you guys can as well. Here he is. Speaking of the boy. Oh, the man himself, the man of the hour. Oh, sleepy dog, huh? Welcome. Welcome one, welcome all. It is 5:51 p.m. EST. Oh, yeah. On Wednesday, November 19th. If you can believe it. It is November 19th, 2025. And yeah, you're watching the most radical stream on the internet. And tonight, in just a few minutes, we will be joining WhickTV and others to discuss the post-Trump GOP, the future of the Republican Party. So it's looks like they might already be in there. See, a couple of them are in there already, but we'll wait. We'll wait just a few minutes. First of all, how y'all doing? Hi, Christine. And Michelle. Good to see you both. I'll probably have to adjust the window shape here once we join, but that's okay. We can take our time. What do you guys think of the thumbnail? Uncle Fatty says, most radical stream ever, like the world has never seen. Indeed, indeed. Quite radical. Maybe even too radical. Who knows? Mr. Far From Jordan says, good. You? I'm well. Welcome, Mr. Far From Jordan. Good to have you here. I'm doing well also, yeah. To answer your question, I'm also doing well. Perhaps a bit distracted. But hopefully we can get into it. Christine didn't see the thumbnail. Well, it's pretty funny. It's a really funny thumbnail, so you might want to go back and look. It's kind of hilarious. I worked really hard on it. It took me hours of typing 2 different messages to Google Gemini. I'm lying about the hours. I guess I could say like 0.001 hours, which is like grammatically correct. So maybe that's fair. But it's very funny. I took the meme of the guy trying to put a block. How about you show me? Fine. This is it. Do you see it? It's the meme of the guy trying to put a block in a hole where it doesn't fit, and I put a MAGA hat on him, and I turned some of the block holes into crosses. I thought it was pretty funny. Symbolizing the I should have made one of them like an elephant or something. I don't know. Maybe a swastika, but I don't think that would be good for the algorithm to put a swastika on my thumbnail. Thank you, Mr. Far From Jordan. I was quite proud. Some of my finest work, undeniably. And shout out to Gemini 3. By the way, one of the reasons I didn't stream yesterday is because Google dropped their new flagship LLM model, Gemini 3, and it's really fucking good. So I will be probably doing a stream tomorrow where I dive really deep into that platform and show you guys just how much fun I've had building with it. True Panelverse, hit the like button. Uncle Fatty says, thanks, bro, for allowing me the opportunity to become an official member of the $200 Tomato Haters Savers Club. It first was an honor to get Das Boot, then even more to get brought back on. Oh, did that happen to you? You got a $100 boot and a $100 back on? Or did they do $200 to drop you? Okay, I didn't see this happen. That's awesome, though. Congratulations. It feels good, right? Well, what he's referring to is he. So I gave up my my spot to him on Sarah's panel the other night, And honestly, I did it because I thought it was Team Fatty, and we were talking about DEI, and I thought it would be funny to yield my spot to a black man. But besides the point, I let Uncle Fatty on, and someone must have paid $100 to kick him, and then someone else posted $100 to save him. So he has joined the club of people dropping 100 back to back, like different people dropping $100 to boot and save you from the panel. For the real Tomato Haters Club, you have to enter a secret password. So I will not be going into detail on the real Tomato Haters Club. I went out, went in. Yeah, I got you. Fun stuff, though. Good for you. Welcome to the big leagues. I guess we're just chilling for a moment. We got like 4 minutes before this starts. I wonder if I can pull this up, actually. You need the password. Let me find... I guess I can show you guys real quick what I've been building with Gemini, just for a couple minutes. Give you like a little preview. So I have this workflow storyboard, which has like these different nodes that I can drag around and connect and send data between them. So like right now, if I click run flow, it goes do do do, and it ran successfully. But each one of these I can actually run JavaScript code in. So in theory, I can. Well, actually, I have examples like. I'll worry about that later. We don't have time right now. But it's exciting. It's very fun. Oh, look, we got a little bug. When it's straight, we can't really see the line. Interesting. But it's pretty. In any case, let's go ahead and hop over to Wix server. Bye. Yeah, connecting nerds.
It emphatically made me darker.
AJ, I don't know these people well enough to make that obvious joke that you just set right in front of me.
You listen. We
Hey, we're
gotta
not
be
live yet.
Look,
You're
we
good.
gotta be us. All right.
I am
and
live.
The people are
I
gonna
am
be
live,
the people.
actually.
So
Never
Definitely-
mind.
Listen.
I didn't say anything then.
Well, I was gonna say, listen, we gotta be us, man. And the people, if they come to the show, they'll come to understand that we have a very unique relationship, and life gon' life, man. They'll be all right.
Yeah, but I don't feel like getting fired tonight, so.
Oh, fair enough. I keep forgetting. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Yeah, you're in the public space now, so
You got a job.
yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta be.
Who would you
gotta be
get
nice.
fired from?
I'm now teaching in a high school, so
Oh,
if a
congratulations.
student were to, or somebody saw something and threw me under the bus and said, "I can't believe Mr. O'Neill said that," so they don't even like us swearing in the class, like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times you really feel it. Today I really felt like swearing, so.
Well, I
held back,
appreciate
though.
you guys for giving your time to my show and to my program. I do, and I hope it's a productive and, more importantly, entertaining discussion. So I'll tell Radical what I told you guys. I'm going to start by introducing the topic. I'll give you guys brief introductions, and then we'll just get into it. Are there any questions before we start? Okay, with that, we are going to be live in 3, 2. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WhickTV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues, both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, have we got a show for you tonight? We got some great guests lined up, and we're going to be talking about the future of the MAGA movement. Trump will no longer be on the ballot come 2026 and 2028. Already, we are seeing fractures on the right between people like Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, etc. What is next for MAGA? Where does the right wing go from here? Does MAGA have a future? Does it just die with Trump? What do we think? We got guests from across the political spectrum here, and we're going to give them introductions, and then we're going to get into it. We're going to start with Radical Coder, and we're going to make our way around. Radical Coder, tell people who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you.
Am I just doing introductions, or are we going into the topic?
No,
Just
opening thoughts, too. Go ahead. Just
okay.
talk.
Yeah. So I'm Ryan, Radical Coder. You should listen to me because I have a very cute dog, and also because I'm clever and funny and all that jazz. But yeah, youtube.com/radicalcoder if you want more of that. And after this, hopefully you will. But I'd say, what we're watching right now is kind of a custody battle between a few different branches of the Republican Party. Ever since, all this stuff with the Epstein files, we've had a major breakup, very heartbreaking, between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump, one of his most loyal soldiers. And he's calling her Marjorie Traitor Greene. It's only a matter of time when you are attached yourself to Trump before he decides that you're no longer worth his time, usually when you betray him. So that tends to happen. But I think what we're seeing is, I said this the other day, I think the chickens are coming home to roost, and that the Republican Party has, for a very long time, kind of leaned into a normalization of various extremist ideologies. And right now, there's a battle amongst these particular these extremists and the more the less extreme, the more moderate Republicans and other people who have different, like traditional conservatives. All these people have very different visions for the Republican Party, and right now we're seeing like battles between Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson over Nick Fuentes, and Ben Shapiro in a fantastic moment of -5 self-awareness is complaining about Tucker Carlson normalizing extremism and whitewashing hatred, which was very funny to hear come out of his mouth. But I mean, he is correct in that analysis. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to see. I don't know what's going to happen after Trump, but hopefully we'll learn a lot about it tonight.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Alish, what do you got?
Hello, I am Alish. Sorry for the formality. I'm being silly. You can find me on Twitter, X, Zitter, whatever you want to call it. Why should you listen to me? Because I have a lot of really cool things to say, honestly. I don't have a dog like this guy, which, I'm sorry about that. I have my cats sometimes, but they're not here right now. He kind of stole what I was going to say about the party fracturing. They're running into a similar problem now that the Democrats are having, in which they're trying to find somebody to rally around, and they're not really going to be able to find that person unless they want to rally around Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know. That seems kind of silly, but, who am I? So they're kind of, and the supporters of MAGA are losing it in a way I never thought that they would lose it before. I think I'll get more into detail about that later if that comes up. But just some of the rhetoric I've heard coming out of the right has been like absolutely insane. Anyway, that's it for me.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate where you go. We got some new guests with us as well. This is going to be a very dog-friendly show, and I'm here for it. Next up, what was your name? Bradley? KJ Bradley? What do you like to be called here?
Hey, I like to be called anything except late for dinner, man. I'm KJ
Okay,
Bradley, owner of KTA Interactive Media out of South Carolina. Also the co-host of the fabulous show, Two Pogues Save the World. You can find us at any of our socials there. Why should you listen to me? Honestly, you shouldn't. There's way too much rhetoric and too much divisiveness to listen to people with reason and rationality. So I highly encourage you to go listen to all the extreme stuff. And, whenever you need a dose of reality, come check us out.
Well, thank you for being here. Hopefully, they listen to you tonight, though. Okay, we love moderation on this channel. And next up, Shuaya, Utah. Shuaya?
So, Shuai, Utah is an old joke from when I was a missionary in Taiwan. Shuai meant handsome. And so since I'm LDS, everybody in Mormon, we went back and we all kind of stuck to that. And I actually got the license plate that said it, and I had people at a reunion go, "So you're the one who took that license plate." So Shwai, Utah has been a handle I've had for way too long. I'm Chaplain O'Neill, the Army chaplain, retiring here next month. KJ and I do Tupac Save the World. It's on hiatus right now, but we're doing a rebrand. So at some point we'll come back on and basically, I don't know. I think it's probably from what I'm gathering, I might be the only true conservative on here, which means I'm definitely not MAGA. So I'll probably be coming at it from further right than MAGA, but not radical right. I don't consider myself. I consider myself a conservative. I'm very realistic when it comes to what the far right is, and when we actually talk about fascism and those things. As a current high school history teacher, I see some stuff that in history that gets whitewashed and really downplayed and misconstrued. So I try to come at things from what I've seen in my life. I think I might be the oldest one on here too, unfortunately. But I don't know if you should listen to me either. I'm kind of like KJ. It's like, if you think we're interesting, great. And if not, doesn't hurt my feelings.
I guess we'll find out. Well, with that said, I'm curious to start here. I'll just open it up. You said you're coming at this from a more further right than Trump. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so what I mean is I'm an actual conservative. I am a fiscal conservative and a social conservative. When 2016 rolled around and Trump was the nominee, I left the GOP because of the nomination. I actually call myself a conservative libertarian. I think that everybody has the rights that are ingrained in the Constitution, but your rights go up to where somebody else's rights start, and that's where your rights stop. So you don't get to mess with other people's rights. I was against gay marriage, for example, only because I didn't think that it was fair to, as an Army chaplain, I was worried that soldiers would say, well, wait a minute, you'll marry a couple that are straight, but if they're gay, you won't. And so you're a bigot. I'm like, wait a minute, I still have to have my religious freedom, and that's where my rights are. And so mine should be able to stop. And I didn't like those lawsuits with the cake and this and that. But it's like, as gay marriage came through, I was like, hey, I've got gay friends that I'm going, that's cool. You want to be left alone? I want to leave you alone? Cool. You want to live who you want to live with as long as you're both consenting adults? I couldn't care less. And when Trump came in, I was really worried about how he was going to govern. I was actually fairly pleasantly surprised, but I'm, for the most part, a one-issue voter, which is the Supreme Court. And I might be by myself, but I liked his three picks. I was very much very happy to see three conservative justices. One thing when we came back in, I saw kind of the vitriol that would come from the MAGA side and the lack of common sense. And that's something that's always bothered me. All the way back to like Rush Limbaugh when he would fight against the Bradley bill. And I thought, is it really that bad that somebody has to wait to purchase a firearm, especially if they're heat of the moment? What is wrong with having some regulations that protect? And so when you see Trump and the MAGA movement be so cocksure of themselves and have no ability to stop and say, you know what, maybe there's a point here on the other side, that really pushed me away from that entire movement. But I will say this as well, and I'm sure this will come up throughout the argument, probably mostly for me. I think a lot of the future of the GOP and the MAGA party also depends on what the Democrats do. Because that fracture that Radical said on the GOP, I see just as much fracture on the left. And it would be really great if the people on the far left and the people on the far right just got shut up and shut down, and nobody listened to them. And then maybe we might actually have people in the middle that would be more willing to have a good conversation and actually do the job in Washington. Because I think we all agree Washington is an absolute crap show, and nobody trusts the people that are in government on the right or the left. And that is really disheartening for anybody that is a citizen of this country and loves this country.
I think
that's where I'm at.
One of the, and we'll get into this, and I want to get other people in on this as well, but one of the things I've seen when it comes to nobody trusting people in the government, that is partially it's their own fault. I want to make that very clear. But there's a large portion of it that is by design, right? When you have spent your entire political career or all your advocacy calling the other side commies or Nazis, right? Of course, people are going to distrust that because you've trained them to do so, right? And I think that is like when we talk about the future of MAGA and what that's going to look like, there is a risk to me of it just getting more and more extreme. Like, oh, you didn't, you rejected us this time. Well, we're going to just go more extreme. I see this on the left too. A lot of people on the left claim that, oh, if only Biden had gone further left and been more progressive and been all of these things, then we would have come out and voted for him. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And I don't know. I just worry that there's going to be it's going to reciprocally radicalize each other, and they're going to be like, well, look how bad they're going to do.
Well, I guess an interesting thing that I noted when we talk about the radical left and the radical right, as it were. I mean, I don't feel like the Democrats are by any definition the radical left, but I mean, like, I feel like the Republicans have put pretty extreme. I mean, like Trump himself, and we have people like Stephen Miller and all of these other extremists in the Republican Party. This is the establishment Republicans. The Democrats aren't putting, I mean, with the exception of recent, like Mamdani being the farthest left, like someone who calls himself a socialist, or someone like Bernie Sanders. And I mean, these people are relatively moderate considering, like considering what like a communist might be, or like tankies and stuff online you hear about. Like, I don't see the left putting, like, institutionalizing these people in the same way the Republicans have.
Thoughts?
What's interesting is apparently Laura Loomer tweeted or maybe not tweeted, but she said recently that the GOP has a Nazi problem, which which is interesting to me that Laura Loomer would say that.
Well, do we agree or disagree with that statement, gang? Does the GOP have a Nazi problem?
Agree.
I disagree.
Why? Elaborate.
You can't have a problem if you're okay with it, right? Like, to have a problem means to acknowledge that something is bad, right? So here's my take, and just to give you a little bit of political background, I consider myself a Republican, but not in the sense of this modern incantation or incarnation. I'm more of a post-Civil War Republican, just kind of a traditional conservative at heart. Not necessarily don't tread on me, but just leave me the fuck alone, and I'll do the same to you, Republican. So all the basic, values, small government, stay out of my thing. I think the issue we have is we've seen, pockets of this Republican Party going back to, I mean, hell, pick it. It kind of ebbs and flows, right? I think Gingrich kind of started our generation of radical Republicans in the 90s to counteract the Clinton. And then it kind of pushed a little bit forward with the Bush Republicans. And then we saw with McConnell and the Obamas. And they kind of shapeshift, right? So we've seen Moms for Liberty. We've seen the Tea Party. We've seen all of these, these factions before. So to say now that they have a Nazi issue would be a gross understatement. Like, until they're literally out just, shooting people in the head. And don't get me wrong, we're on the road. I just don't think we're there now, right? I just don't think we're there now.
I completely disagree. If you're going to say that the Republicans have a Nazi party or a Nazi problem, then you absolutely have to look at the left and say, they have a communist party, a communist problem. The very first thing I would say is you look at historically what the Nazis did and the fascists did in Italy. They did certain things. They confiscated guns. They shut down free speech. And they took control of all the manufacturing and et cetera, right? Basically, they went along. It was very similar to what the communists did as far as the means of production, but they did it in the name of the state. And one thing I keep hearing about Trump is he's a Nazi and whatever. Okay, if he was a Nazi, you wouldn't be saying it because you would be arrested and you'd be thrown in jail for calling that.
To be clear, he has started bringing lawsuits against Perkins Coie and making executive orders to try to shut them down because they represented clients that he didn't like. He's also arrested people for making op-eds that, again, were anti-Israel and things that he didn't like. And when we talk about gun grabbing, portions of his administration have tried to outlaw guns for trans people. So, I mean, it's not obviously to the same scale, but you can see little glimmers, right? Or at least little proto.
Well,
Yeah, well, and it did-
I've noticed. Well,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry to jump in. Sorry about that. So, if you're looking for World War II Hitler style Nazis, you're not gonna find it in 2025, right? We humans evolve. Humans learn. They realize that, hey, going full out SS uniforms and outright claiming I'm genociding people is probably a bad idea. So they do it in more subtle tactics, right? So the evolution of Nazism is still there. Like, we're still snatching people up off of the streets, right? We still got a mass percentage of the population who turn a blind eye to the atrocities. I mean, we're already we're suppressing the press. What little free press that we got left is being suppressed. I mean, hell, every time the POTUS bats a damn eye, he's filing another lawsuit. It's there. The elements are there. We can't deny that they're not there. I mean, it's there. You just got to rock with it.
Yeah, and not to hammer the point into the ground, but I mean, like, look at these immigration policies right now. Like, we literally have ICE agents racially profiling people, essentially black bagging them, grabbing them up off the street, and throwing them into unmarked vans, and sending them to literal torture camp in another country. I mean, the echoes are clearly there, and again, we have people like Tucker Carlson who are pretty widely respected in the Republican Party, who are normalizing folks like Nick Fuentes, who are I mean, I think it's fair to consider him a neo-Nazi by any definition of the word.
We're paying for them to be in what is it?
CCOT?
CCOT too. Yeah, we're paying for them to be in CCOT. Have you ever gone down the fascism checklist and compared it to Trump head on head?
Yeah.
There's a checklist?
Yeah.
There's a checklist, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There's
a fascism checklist.
The 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's an interesting nuance about because I've actually been reading a lot about these. There's a phrase that he uses that I think is really useful. Like, because a lot of people complain about Eco's 14 points of fascism as not being like some. He describes them as inherently like contradictory in a lot of ways, but he specifically says that these are like 14 points that fascism coagulates around. I really like the way he uses that word, coagulates. Like, it's enough. I think he says that it's enough that any one of these exist in a system for fascism to again coagulate around it. So like fascism will unite around these different 14 points. I think that's just I agree with you about it being useful to look at through that lens, but it's an interesting nuance.
Yeah. And Trump hits all 14 points, like not even theoretically, not even if you try to stretch the truth. He just solidly hits all 14
I get
points.
You. I get you. I don't want to turn this into Armaga Nazis type of deal.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
if you beyond the scope of the conversation, but I do want to talk about whether or not MAGA is going to be going more extreme. Because what I'll ask you, Shui Utah. Is that how you say your name? I don't know.
You can call me Chaplin. You can call me O'Neill. You can call me Utah.
Chaplin.
Whatever works.
It's much easier to remember.
Sure.
Trump 1 compared to Trump 2. Do you like Trump 2 more, less, the same? What are your thoughts here? Do you think that MAGA has been better or worse than they were initially at governor?
I think they've been worse simply because they're kind of all over the place. Look at what's going on with the Epstein files. I was talking with my students today about this a little bit. Not a whole lot, because you can't go much into it with high school students.
Talking to your high school students about the Epstein files? Go on, please.
Well,
I'm very curious.
Let me back up a little bit. What I was talking about was shooting yourself in the foot. And so I don't remember how the conversation came up. They didn't even know what that phrase meant. And I had to explain to them in World War I, people would shoot themselves in the foot to try to get out of battle. And somebody had said something. I said, I felt like Trump was shooting himself in the foot with that. And so that's kind of what it is. Like, you look at Trump and you go, who's really giving him in this administration you know what, this isn't the best idea. We all know that he loves to have yes people around. And Mattis, General Mattis at one point went, you know what, out. Different people throughout have done that. And I think he's doubled down on the yes people, the yes men, the yes women. And that to me is where kind of the challenge is, because he doesn't seem to have anybody who's grounding him anymore. And if you don't have somebody that is grounding somebody in power, that can go from a company commander in the army all the way up to, the president of the United States. Then they get put in that ultimate bubble of what an emperor used to have, which is the emperor would have all the sycophants around saying, "Oh, sir, you're the best. Oh, sir. Oh, did you just flatulate? Oh, that's wonderful, sir. Good for you." And I think that's kind of where we're at. And it has definitely become a cult of personality. So then the question becomes, is MAGA only the cult of personality based on Trump, or is it a legitimate movement? And that's really going to be the question. Who does he hand the baton off to? Because MAGA, to me, takes some, or even the GOP takes very different forks in the road depending on who the next guy up is. It's going to be very different if it's Vance, if it's DeSantis. KJ and I have talked about this. I would love to see Governor Abbott from Texas come into the ring. But all three of those are very, very different personalities and would be very different leaders and would take MAGA down or even kill MAGA. I think one or two of those are more likely to go much more to the traditional GOP, where I think Vance is probably the one who says, hey, let's keep going with MAGA and let's keep that alive. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And that's also going to predicate be based on who the Democrats come in with. Because to me, I'm not scared of Gavin Newsom at all. But if they come with somebody who's a little more, KJ and I have talked to Greg Easterbrook a few times, who's been on our show, and he loves the governor out of Rhode Island. I apologize, I don't know her name, but he went down the list and said she's a Democrat, she's a solid Democrat, but she's a old school. She wants worker rights and she wants these good things for the country. And that's what I would worry about if I was in the GOP, worrying about the Democrats putting somebody up that actually is common sense and makes sense. You put up AOC or Newsom, some of these guys, I wouldn't worry about that. But if you come up with somebody who's a little more moderate, a little more common sense, I think they lose the election. And that definitely, I think if they lose the 2028 election, that probably kills off MAGA either way. And ultimately is the wild card. I think it does. I think if they lose in 2028,
right? Obviously that didn't happen.
Well,
I could be wrong, but I think
I'm just
I think
curious,
that
why
would be the make or
2028?
break.
Why is that the death knell and 2020 was not? Like, what's the difference? What
The cult of personality, the person.
Okay.
There was this weird I don't understand the Trump love. I think Trump in a lot of ways was Ross Perot in a modern sense. Like, people were aching for somebody to be. No, what I mean is they were aching for that outsider. Hey, let's run the country like a business. I don't mean Ross Perot like Ross Perot's going to come in and save the world. I'm talking about coming in and they wanted kind of that that person who is going to come in and say, Obama's been in charge for 8 years. Obamacare got pushed through with 0 votes from Republicans, so they felt Republicans in general, conservatives in general, felt pretty castrated. And so they wanted somebody who was going to come in and just go balls to the wall, and they got it. And now we're kind of seeing what that means. And the reason it didn't matter as much in 2020 when he lost is because he didn't go away. He didn't go away like Romney did, and Romney went into the Senate. But most of the times when presidential candidates lose, they kind of go away. And Trump didn't go away. And unfortunately, I think for those who don't like Trump and don't like MAGA and would have liked him to go away, the media continued to do it. And I think it was a huge mistake by the Biden administration to keep going after Trump and with things like the indictments, because it gave him that martyr complex. Oh, now he's a felon. And people like me going, is he? I mean, really, it's 40 check kiting. Come on. But you gave people who really, well, but the people who follow Trump look at it and go, really, if that's the case, you might as well indict his dog. You could probably get just as many indictments. And well, we have the dogs on the screens.
I mean,
but
tomorrow's topic is Nuremberg trials for MAGA. We're gonna No, I'm not kidding.
Interesting.
We're
Wait,
gonna
Nuremberg
have a
trials.
talk
So,
whether that's wise.
but how do you have Nuremberg trials if they win in 2028?
Well, the
Or are you saying
issue
Nuremberg
is,
trials by MAGA against Democrats?
yeah. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
I guess it could go either way.
that would be the argument. What's
I
happening
guess it
now
could
with the
go either
indictments
way.
against Comey, the indictments against other
Yeah.
political enemies. That would be
So,
what the argument is. And
and
this is
that's
my problem
yeah.
here: is that both sides seem to be doing this thing where the other side's going to do it to us, so we need to do it to them
Boom.
first and worse.
There you
Right?
go.
And
The
I
Harry
think
Reid
that,
rule.
yeah.
This is the Harry Reid rule. When Harry Reid, who is LDS by the way, he's a member of my church, and I despise the man politically. He was apparently a really good guy. I've had people that met him say he's really nice. But when Harry Reid, nuclear option back in 2010, I want to say, everybody on the right went, okay, are you sure? Because that's just going to mean when we're in charge, we're going to do it. And that, to me, that set the precedent that we've gotten, each one has gotten progressively worse, and it's been justified both ways with, well, they did it first. And instead of a leader coming up and saying, it doesn't matter who did it, we need to get back to a moral leadership in this country. We're going to just keep going. It's going to keep dividing and just get worse and worse. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, the whataboutism is definitely getting way, way too much. You made a comment about DeSantis, or somebody did. That would be an awful choice, in my opinion. DeSantis, like the dude who they were making fun of for having lifts in his shoes, which I thought was like the funniest thing ever. He got spanked in a debate with Gavin Newsom a couple years ago, like absolutely railroaded.
Depends on who you listen to say it's spanked. I heard everybody on the right saying he took Newsom to lunch, and that's part of the problem too. Is well, no, but that's my point. Is the people on the right are going to say Trump can do no wrong. The people on the left are going to say Newsom creamed him, right? And that's where, to me, that's the divide. You don't have those people in the middle who are even saying, well, DeSantis did really well on these 3 points and Newsom did well on 3 points. On these, we're at such a point that we have so few people that, in my opinion, that in the middle will say, yeah, I kind of like what Nancy Pelosi said about this, or I like what DeSantis did on that. To me, we're in such a gulf in the country that nobody will give credit where it's due, because goodness forbid you say the other people on the other side did anything good, then you're a traitor to the party. And that's where, like, you saw it just recently with the shutdown and the reopening. Instead of saying, hey, we had 8 people that got together and they kind of said, what can we do? What's going to work? Which in the past had been, hey, good job. Maybe we had some moderates come together. You saw the Democrats in the House going, oh my gosh, I can't believe those guys got together and gave in. Well, and Republicans would have done the same thing in the middle if it had been a shutdown during Biden administration and the Republicans had shut it down. That to me is the biggest tragedy of this whole thing. And I think it's going to get worse, because even at the local level here, let's say Georgia 10th district, you don't have even a moderate that can come in and go, you guys, what are we doing here? Why can't we look at this country and say what's best for the people? But instead it's what's best for the right or what's best for the left. To me, this is where, unfortunately, we're just so far behind. If we could have a person, and don't ask me who that person is, because I don't know if that person exists, that can bring the country together. I'm really disheartened by it.
What if I posed it? I step on you every time, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Go
you're
ahead,
good.
Rodney.
You're good. Get in there.
No. I was gonna say, what if I propose to you guys that neither party gives a shit about the people, right? So it literally is just, all right, you got corporate interests with the blue team, and you got oligarchs and tech bros on the red team. And they're both sponsored by. It just depends on who you want the ruling party to be, and the people are collateral damage in the middle. So I don't believe, like, Pandora's already out of the box, right? We there's no putting it back. We are too far gone for a republic by the people for the people, right? The only way we do that is if we literally flush the entire thing and start over, which is, I would have thought 10 years ago would never happen. But then again, I'm kind of like, all right, do I want to save for retirement, or do I want to start prepping? You know what I mean? So it isn't a matter of compromise. It's a matter of controlling interest and which way your flag flies and who you believe should get the best subsidies and should have ruling parties, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I think that on my bad days, I agree with you. Okay, on the days I'm blackpilling, I agree with you. Okay? No pun intended. But I want to make sure that I don't know. For me, yes, the Democrats aren't perfect by any means. I have a big problem with some of the latent anti-Semitism that exists on the far left. I have a big problem with people like Hassan Piker and those people getting media attention, things like that. They are not on my team. I do not want them at my table, right? But at the same time, I have to look at who the Democrats are putting up to govern. And like my governor, I'm in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro has done an amazing job here.
Great guy. Yeah, great guy.
He's got absolutely great approval ratings because he just gets things done, and he doesn't tend to go like into the weird culture war bullshit. I mean, he dabbles. We all do. I do. I can't like throw stones in my glass house. But I just like when you say neither party cares about us, I don't believe that's true.
Well, I'll give you a prime example. I can give you several examples. So, this and by no means the blue parties had the tactical advantage several times, right? We had an opportunity to put a SCOTUS in twice. You had it under 44, and then you had it right at the beginning or the end of 45. You could have stopped 45 the same way they stopped 44 to wait for 46 to put in SCOTUS. Both times it's all about decorum, only to get their shit pushed in by the Reds and got 3 SCOTUSes put in back to back to back, right? And then we say, okay, cool. Hey man, you messed up in 44, got it. 46 is in the seat. Here's what we need to do. You need to codify the Voting Rights Act, because if you don't, it's going to be a fucking problem. Do you know what the blue team did? Oh no, we can't do that. Why? That wouldn't be fair.
No, they didn't say it because it wouldn't be fair. They just did not have the votes. Like
no,
it was a 50-50 Senate.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 Senate. You know who else?
Filibuster. But you got to get 60, or you're not getting these things codified.
But you know who else didn't have the votes? The red team, when they kept pushing the blue team shit in the last 6 years. Funny how the red team can always find the votes and to find ways to make shit happen, but the blue team shits on this.
Hold on. What has the red team actually passed legislatively in the last year?
I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3 letters of the same exact letter. BBB.
Yeah.
A big beautiful bill, a spending bill.
Yeah,
one.
A spending bill.
So just one.
Well, you just asked for 1.
9 months. No, that's
you just asked for 1.
But
you just asked for 1.
You did give me 1. But almost every single thing that Trump is doing has been through executive order.
Executive order. Yes, executive order.
Right?
Yes.
Now, Biden also did many executive orders, but Trump has far and away surpassed him. The problem with executive orders are that the other guy, when he gets in, is just going to erase them all.
Right, but you know what the other guy can't erase? The other guy can't erase Amy Coney Barrett. The other guy can't erase Brett Kavanaugh.
They could.
The other guy can't. They could, but they've had the opportunity. What I'm saying is they've had that opportunity, but they
by the way,
didn't.
I think packing the courts would be a terrible precedent for many reasons.
It just, but the interest of the people, I'm saying neither the red team or the blue team had the interest of the people. The blue team had several chances to strengthen the ACA, right? Several chances, right? All right, we say the first push out with 44 when he pushed it out, it wasn't a perfect bill, right? But the premise was there, the framework was there, right? When 46 came in and he did the infrastructure bill, he had the ability to push it through when he got the infrastructure bill put together. He did not. They chose not to.
Wait a minute. The infrastructure bill passed. It was the Inflation Reduction Act, which added $2.3 trillion
but that's my point.
Money or whatever it was.
But that's my point. If you only have one shot, you only got one shot, and you take the shot, and you got the votes for the infrastructure bill. If you can get the infrastructure bill passed, you can get other bills passed, right?
But
it's not not necessarily.
Biden passed like a record number of a record number of bipartisan bills, right? I mean, like,
right, he did, which is, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They passed them, but none of it matters. I mean, it matters, but not to the sense of like you could have got it fixed, but you chose not.
But this is where I go all the way back, because KJ and I have talked about this. Obama had a super majority and wasted so much political clout on the ACA when they could have done so many things that the Democrats wanted, checked them off. But instead, they were so focused on the ACA, which has not reduced any health care. It has lined the pockets. It has lined the pockets of the insurance companies. I think we can all agree on that, right?
What?
That the ACA
has done both
just
things.
real quick, I disagree with you on the on your characterization of ACA. I have family members who could not, like, I'm old as well. I'm 42 years old. Okay, I remember the time before the ACA.
Yeah,
I had family members who could
before
not
fourth
get
time.
insurance. Could not get insurance at all. There was no
the pre-existing
possible way.
injuries. Yeah,
Yes, the ACA fixed that problem,
Yeah.
and now they can get insurance. And also, right, it hasn't like spiked insurance costs. They've gone up about the same rate as it does. You can argue that it didn't reduce it enough. Fair enough, but I think that look at the ACA subsidies, which was what the shutdown was about. I think that the Democrats trying at least to keep the ACA subsidies on the books for at least another year shows that they are actually willing to fight for people who can't fight for themselves. Like they don't have the resources.
Without trying to re-adjudicate, because to me, I think the ACA, if they had said just really focused on the pre-existing conditions, you probably would have had some Republicans go along with that. But I do think that you have, again, it goes back to just spending the political capital on the ACA. We don't have to debate whether the ACA was good or bad.
Sure.
Just that was so much political capital that they didn't work, like what KJ is saying on the Voter Right Act, things like that. And I think that was a huge thing that Trump did in his first tour. That again, it's just set a horrible precedent. Is doing everything by executive order to bring it back a little bit. And now that's kind of what we have, unfortunately. The legislature has just punted on their jobs. We've talked about we haven't got around to it, but we've been joking around with the idea of what if we had a show of what constitutional amendments could we add? And one of them would be any time a budget is not passed, every single member of Congress is now ineligible for re-election. I think the American people would be like, yeah, let's do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
but would you ever get it passed?
Yeah, the problem is the right is busy trying to repeal the 19th. That's their at least not. I won't look. It wouldn't be fair to say all the right. I won't paint with that broad brush. Forgive me, but there is a sizable and growing portion of the right, some of whom I've argued with, right, on my show, and you guys have seen this, right, who just believe that women should just shut the fuck up. They don't deserve the right to vote, and they want to take it away.
Well, they're stupid then.
Well,
They're
I think
stupid,
this,
but they're growing in power.
yeah,
right?
and this brings it back to the topic at hand, right? Like, I mean, you know, I'm happy to have conversations like criticizing Democrats for various things. Like I think it's fine. I'm critical of them too at times. But like somebody's beeping. I don't know what the beeping.
Who's beeping?
That's me. Yeah, that's my other system going on.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
Timed out.
Of course it is, KJ.
But like I almost every. It's very frustrating. I hear this kind of like both sides. You know, no one in the government cares about you. All this sort of stuff. And I mean, like maybe that's true, but like oftentimes when we have these conversations, I feel like we're using that as like a crutch to kind of pretend that like again the current Republican Party is not just absolutely like off the wagon. Like they've completely they've just gone insane and like we're downplaying it drastically, and we, you know, like we sit here talking about Biden not doing, like, again, Biden passed a ton of bipartisan legislation. He was working with the Republicans. Right now, Trump is demanding that the Republicans don't work with Biden, and you know, I guess this is kind of the inspiration. This is right now we're finally seeing that Congress is saying, you know, maybe this is a sinking ship and we need to kind of jump off, and hopefully we find some floaties. And I mean, I guess we're like the main topic here I'm hoping to hear more about is like, what are those different boats that the Republicans are jumping into look like, and what shape are they taking? Do any of them have sails? Are they going anywhere? Like, what's going to happen now, you know?
Yeah. I'll close on this. the Voting Rights Act was on Biden's table with the Infrastructure Act. Here's the cause and effect of it. Because they failed to act, Trump 2.0 happened. Because 44 failed to act, Trump 1.0 happened. And the SCOTUS turned decisively conservative. Had the blue team acted when they were supposed to act, it wouldn't be a supermajority conservative judgment in the SCOTUS right now, and the president would have, immutable power right now. So it's a cause and effect thing. I'm okay with giving it to both sides, but we can't sit back and say, oh, Trump is, Trump the fucking devil all of a sudden when the steps were there. You knew he was bad the first time when he tanked the fucking economy. It's like farmers voting for Trump the second time. Like, hey man, he bankrupted your ass the first time, and then you come back overwhelmingly expecting him not to bankrupt you again, and now you're sitting there making TikTok videos crying.
So regardless of how we got here, we are here now.
Right.
We're in a situation where Trump is no longer going to be on the ballot. We have a coalition that has power, MAGA, who has various problems, and there seems to be a fracturing within. So what does the future of MAGA look like? What do we see happening? Regardless of what we want to happen.
Yeah.
What do we see actually happening? And $2 from Gelatinous Rube. Thank you for the $2 to say nobody with power, I would vote for them. Thank you for the $2. Yeah, I'm not sure.
MAGA will continue to strengthen just under a different umbrella. Like I said, we saw it before. We saw it before with the Tea Party. The Tea Party, the Moms for Liberty, the movement, the whole, like, they continue to reinvent themselves under a different umbrella. The idea of MAGA does not die with Trump, right? It's a Christian nationalist principle, and as long as that Christian nationalist underbelly is prevalent in the country, MAGA is not gonna die. You know what I mean? It's just
So just to be clear, before you go, Alish, and I'm going to give the mic to you. According to you, KJ, the MAGA coalition has a Christian nationalist future.
Sure. I mean, but it's not a Christian nationalist. It's a Christian nationalist foundation. That's what they've always been based off of. It just keeps reinventing itself. And as long as they hide under the premise of religious persecution, you're always gonna find a rallying cry and a base, right?
Okay, $5 from Gelatinous Rube to say appreciate two pogs facing reality rather than sweeping for Dem failures. But I do hope the Dems follow Wick into repeating these failures instead. Alish, go ahead. I want to give the mic to you.
Yeah, so I saw we saw that TPUSA was definitely trying to take the reins out of the hands of MAGA by rallying around Charlie Kirk. Well, the death of Charlie Kirk. They still won't shut up. Wait, are we allowed to say that we? Okay,
just go on with your point. We don't have to get distracted.
So they're trying to give the reins back to, or trying to give it to TPUSA and trying to make that a thing. That's not really going to happen, as we can see. I do agree somewhat with the Christian nationalism, but the thing is you have kind of the Catholics backing off of it, so I don't know so much about that. But, I mean, I don't know too much about TPUSA, but I think that they're going to try to build similarly to where the Heritage Foundation tried to build. So they're trying to build themselves up to be a movement, especially because they're going to colleges, like to recruit, I guess. I'm definitely seeing that happening a lot. What do you think? Anyone?
I mean, I
agree
that
it's a typical political grassroots campaign. I would expect them no less. Like the party and the ideals. If you don't ingratiate them young, then you're not going to get them right. That's why the attack on liberal colleges is so prominent, right? I have to get in there and I have to let you know that we're under attack. We're being persecuted, right? We're being attacked, and it's up to you. You are the future. Don't be the generation to let this ideal die, right? So the whole thing, like I think I'm not doing a good enough job, and I'm not professional enough to be able to convey this issue properly. But at the end of the day, you have too many people with a whole shit ton of money with these ideals invested in this process to be able to say, oh, well, when Trump dies, the movement dies with you. It doesn't, right? Or else you wouldn't have guys like Elon Musk coming in and dropping tons of money in. You won't have guys like Peter Thiel and the Heritage Foundation or J.D. Vance and his coalition on the backside creating their movement and building their foundation. It's too powerful to die, and it's too much a part of American culture to die away. It just won't.
So
$5?
one of those.
I don't know about that.
Just real quick, and I want to give it to you, sir. The Raging Tomato for $5. Great panel. I know. Thank you. And then 20 WhickTV gift membership from Tango Thoughts. Appreciate you, Tango Thoughts. And if you've been a lucky recipient of one of those gift memberships,
guys, we need
make
some
sure to
gifted
thank
memberships,
Tango
huh?
Thoughts in the chat. And again, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and continue to give me money. If you give me money to ask these gentlemen and this lady questions, I will read that on screen and have them deal with it. But go ahead. I snatched the mic from you. Please. You had something to say.
See, that's the problem with being 53 years old. I start to say something, get cut off, and it just goes, I don't remember what the hell I was about to say.
Well,
That's okay. I mean, I can kind
you
of.
know what? It's okay. I'm sure you'll think something as we go. Yeah, I do want to talk about this Christian nationalism thing. There is a documentary that has been coming, or has been announced, that is coming out, I think, in January, about what that is and where it takes us. And more in the, at least, internet online discourse, I hear about Christian nationalism, and there are more self-professed Christian nationalists coming in. Does that, and there is a solid, regardless of whether you think it was their foundation or not, there's a solid chance that in the future that will be the right, will be Christian nationalist. What does that mean for the country if that is kind of the direction that the right takes?
I was actually going to comment upon that. I really think that a lot of the country is sinking into not just nationalism, but religious psychosis. Like, we're seeing way too much religious psychosis coming from everywhere. Specifically, and I'll give a small example, there was the rapture thing that happened. People took that way too seriously. I keep hearing people, personally, I spend a lot of time on TikTok doing debates. I have heard way too many people profess Islamophobia like you absolutely would not believe. Like, to the point where they're actually saying that Islam is going to take over the United States and modify the Constitution and implement Sharia law because of Mandami. Like, I've actually heard this from multiple different people, not just like one or two.
Implementing, Mamdani has proposed that all New York City public schools be teaching Arabic numerals in the classroom.
Arabic
Crazy
numerals?
There's the joke. Hey, Alice, before
Oh my
you
gosh.
keep going, can I ask you, can you tell me what you mean by religious psychosis?
So people, now I'm not going to say everyone who's religious is in religious psychosis, but there are too many people who are taking their faith and kind of applying it too much across their entire life, right? So when you say that you live the life of Christ, but then you do things like call illegal immigrants like disgusting names, and then you don't actually, love thy neighbor as yourself, and then you also think that Islam is like the absolute devil, respectfully, like, because I know it's not, the same religion, but you actually think that they're going to come and like murder you in your sleep. It's just like insane to me. Right. So there's a rise of it being lathered on way too thick over society. I can give an example, like in Oklahoma, how they're implementing I think it's Oklahoma, or are they implementing the 10 Commandments in the classroom? Is that Oklahoma?
Well,
Yeah.
Oklahoma also bought the Trump Bibles too.
I think that might have been struck down. It was struck down somewhere. The Ten Commandments thing.
Oh, really? I thought it went. I've been.
This is just like in the past like 48 hours, I believe.
Does that answer your question, though, Chaplain?
Well, I mean, not really. I understand what you're saying as far as your religion is going to color how you see things. I'm very religious, obviously, and I'm pretty well versed on Islam. I'm pretty well versed I was a former Army intel agent before, intel analyst before I became a chaplain. So had to get pretty well versed on Islam. And I guess the argument would be, when people say Islam is the boogeyman, well, Islam has said that they are the boogeyman. They've said our goal is to bring down the West. Our goal is to do these things. Our goal is to infiltrate. And one of the things that in the West, and you don't have to agree with us but Americans are very, very short term thinkers. We think in terms of days, weeks, and months. Muslims and Middle Easterners, so not just Muslims, but people in the Middle East don't think in terms of days and months. They think in terms of decades and centuries. One of my favorite Doonesbury cartoons, I literally have it at work right up next to my wall. It's one of my favorite ones. And this is from like 2005, the height of the Gulf War. There's these army guys driving in to go and have a mission, and they have their interpreter. And they say, we're going in for this target. And the interpreter says, oh, no, we can't do that. I have a blood oath against this guy. And the soldier says, well, what are you talking about? He says, well, he killed a member of my family. And the soldier says, well, when did this happen? He goes, in 1412. And the army guys, what the fuck is wrong with you? They hold on to things and they look at things in these terms of decades and centuries. So we can look at that and say, no, Islam's not really a threat, but it is a slow build. And that's how, if it were to happen, it's not going to happen in our lifetimes. That's why I personally don't really care that much, because I'm not going to be around for the time.
Yeah.
If America turns Muslim in 200 years, I couldn't care less.
But this is where it's coming from. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if I may, Black America would like to have a word. So when we talk about in terms of long-term thinking, right? My grandfather passed down some advice to me as a young boy that he got from his grandfather, and so on and so forth. And he told me the two greatest threats that I would ever face as a Black man in this society is American Jesus and the white ally. And true to my 43 years on this planet Earth, he has never been more right. Because the most threats I've ever received have come from my Christ-loving Christian brothers who I can't worship with, and those goddamn allies who refuse who always vote against their own interests. So when we talk about long-term thinking, there is let's say there is a significant case study in American history of long-term suppression and long-term deterrent, right? So let's not say it's a Muslim thing, and not and be ignorant to the fact that our own Christian brothers will just as soon hang you up and turn you into strange fruit if you disagree with them. And that's all I got to say. And we can rock with that.
I think it's an interesting transition to like what I'm thinking. We can have a debate about what, like, I mean, I don't like Islam. I don't like Christianity really. I mean, I'm kind of an anti-theist, and I don't, the idea of anyone who thinks that like the creator of the universe they're enforcing the will of the creator of the universe. That's always like a scary thing to me, just in general. Although I mean, there are values in all these different religious organizations that I might be sympathetic to, but that's the big thing that stands out to me. But I mean, like right now, I'm not worried about I don't see Mamdani as like a radical Islamist or whatever. I'm not worried about like radical Islam taking over my country. Maybe I should be more. I just don't see it. But like what I am definitely afraid of is these Christian nationalists who are like long ingrained in American culture and American power, and realistically, they represent a very tiny portion of the American populace. Like I believe it's only like 10% are like want actually instilled like Christian nationalist values in the government. But I see these things like increasingly normalized. And I mean, I think that is like one of the main factions that's pushing for power in a post-Trump MAGA, or in a post-Trump Republican Party rather. And I mean, I guess that's what I'm concerned about, is these people. And I think it also feeds into, we were talking about people like Turning Point going to the colleges. I think all of these these different groups have kind of worked in tandem for a while under the Trump umbrella, and now we're starting to see the schisms more. But like another piece of that umbrella has long been this kind of like red pill stuff online, which I think is a big reason why we see such a political schism between like young men and young women, where like they're eating up a lot of this content that convinces them that feminism is like the reason they can't get a girlfriend, or they're having all these problems in life, and their like wages are bad because women are in the workforce. And like Wick talked about, people were pushing to repeal the 19th and all this sort of stuff. I mean, I just debated a guy the other day who was he was a former congressional candidate in some I don't remember exactly where, but like the original debate he wanted to have was women shouldn't vote, and like so I think that I guess to try to tie it all together is that these are like these different factions, but there is a lot of overlap in these factions. And I guess like when I zoom out and I see that like the center of the different ovals, like I see something that's not a very pretty picture for the America that I want to live in.
In my
go ahead,
opinion,
Alex, please.
Okay, in my opinion, as long as we don't start taxing the church, I think we're good to go in terms of the church having influence over the government overall, right? Because I think that's the reason why we don't tax the church, because they don't have any influence over the government because of the First Amendment. I don't think you should be scared of Islam taking over anything. And that's the conversation that I keep hearing, is that what Chaplain brought up about how what they think in centuries, or is that what you said, decades and centuries?
Yeah.
Because that was actually the conversation that they were having. They said like in 20, 30, 40, 50 years that they were going to take over the government and change the Constitution, which is like, I think the kind of like rhetoric that we do not need to hear coming from anybody, because that's kind of just like absurd to me. It's
But
like actually
what if that's true though? What if it's not rhetoric?
how would it possibly be true? How would that possibly be a true thing?
A Muslim was just named voted in mayor of New York City 24 years after one of the largest religious-based attack and the most damaged terrorist attack in the history of this country and maybe of the world, only 24 years later. So, look, I'm not saying that it's going to happen imminently. I don't even think necessarily it's going to happen. But you do have a history of Islam from the radical side that says,
again, Jen.
the whole point is to convert everyone in the world. Everyone is supposed to be Muslim, because if you're not Muslim, you're not following the will of Allah. You're not following what the Quran says. You're not following all those different things that the Prophet Muhammad came up with. Now, you can say I don't agree with that, whatever. But what I'm going off of is there is a fundamentalist reading of the Quran and of these texts that is pretty accepted in the Muslim world. I don't have to agree with it. We don't really see the same level of fundamentalism in Christianity. You do have some, for sure, that are absolutely fundamental Christian. Anything that you have fundamentalist is a bad thing. Any fundamentalist is not good. But one of the things in Islam that you don't see is the rejection of kind of those more harsh, more fundamentalist. And I know we're going down a rabbit hole, and I don't mean to. But KJ makes the point that Christian nationalism, which is a form of fundamentalism, is just as much a threat. Now, you could argue that maybe those two cancel each other out. I actually really appreciate what Radical said. I like that you said anti-theist as opposed to you're an atheist, because atheism is there is no God. You're going, I just don't want people to be pushing their religion on me, right? I was a missionary for 2 years in Taiwan. I'm a very active member of the LDS Church. And so when people online say to me like, oh, you're not Christian, I kind of go, okay, I don't really care. But I see other people going, how dare you say that about me? And so, I mean, there's kind of this different things. I think with MAGA, to kind of bring it back to MAGA, I do worry a little bit. I think KG's right. There are some roots that are definitely in the Christian nationalist. I just don't know how deep they are. I don't know how deep they'll go. But you see things on both sides that are really, really worrisome. Wick, right up right up front, the anti-Semitism on the Democratic side. And so this, I think the biggest problem with this whole thing is it really does come down to we're not, I don't remember who said it, we're not caring about each other and we're not caring about our neighbors. Now, I'm a rule of law guy. I think there's a better way to have people who are in this country illegally be removed and have better ways to get them back in. But at the same time, I think that if we were to take everything in the government really realistically down to the lowest level, and you ask people, do you get along with the people you work with? Do you get along with your neighbors? Most of us would say yes. Most of us say, hey, I care about them. If my neighbor's house was burning down, I'd go over and I'd do everything to put out the fire. But you have this idea of, well, what if they were a liberal? Oh, well, then I would never go put their house out. Or, oh, they're MAGA. Well, I would never. And this idea of the politics being so involved is just, to me, is kind of crazy. I have a friend who is all Trump derangement syndrome. And to me, I just say, look, what is happening in Washington and who the president is probably isn't going to affect you day to day. And if you let your entire life be surrounded by the news report that comes out of what Trump's doing, this or that, or whoever it is, Biden, whoever, you need to step away from the computer. You need to step away from the political. Go hug your kids. Go play with your dog. Take a deep breath. Because realistically, even if the federal government collapsed tomorrow, that's probably not going to have a whole lot of impact on the vast majority of Americans.
How are you using Trump derangement syndrome? I'm just wondering, how are you using that? Are you using that in,
bro, that's insane.
like a means to like say that
I'm losing my mind.
They're
I'm keeping it together.
Democrat,
guys.
or are you saying like they're Republican?
Oh, this girl she's gone to the left to such a degree that anything Trump does and says is an absolute threat to the country. He is going to he is trying to break down everything, and by the end of this, I love the fact that
just be clear. Remember what you said about like fundamentalist Islam and how?
Yes.
Oh, what if it's true? Well, that's the question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure, and it goes real quick.
Hold on, let him
real
respond.
quick.
Okay.
So,
Trump is doing
Rick,
those things.
one of the
Oh my
things
God.
you said is that Trump, after the next election, is going to be done. I agree with that. But there are people who have bought into this idea that Trump's going to run for a third term, and they are so scared of that. And I look at it and go, you guys, that's part of the. He can say whatever he wants. I don't give a crap if Trump says I'm going to run for a third term. I don't care because he can't. Constitutionally, he's going to get struck down.
Yeah, but if he tries to,
He what?
If
he
tries,
made merch.
Great.
yeah, he made
and
merch.
he's oh my gosh, Trump trying to make money off of an idea? Say it isn't so.
Well, and
I think
we've
Trump-
literally had bills introduced in Congress that would allow him to run for a third term, like multiple bills. I mean, like this.
I mean,
like,
I can't imagine
I
why
have too
people
much
would
faith
think
in the
he
Supreme
wouldn't
Court.
step down after losing an election. What event in the past could ever give us that idea that he wouldn't step down after losing an election? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I couldn't even. Yeah. So
It's weird
just to
because
kind of
Biden was president though, huh?
So we had these kind of occurrences happen.
Yeah, but
before,
just
right?
hold on, just real quick.
Yeah.
He failed at it, but if someone comes with a gun and shoots at you and misses, you don't be like, "Oh, he missed," so it's all good, brother. No. Anyway, go ahead.
So I just wanna kind of go back because me being the weird guy that I am, I remember a couple of occurrences in this young country of ours history where we've had these transformative times where people have come together, right? The 1860s kind of come to mind initially, right? And we had this huge influx of immigrants pop in who were, new citizens who were getting representation in Congress. And then out of the blue, we start talking about, there's an immigration problem. The way of life. If we give them representation in Congress, if we allow them to vote, we're not, we're going to lose the American way of life, right? And then we had this huge 60-year window of oppression. And then we kind of said, hey, you know what? we should kind of wake up and get done of it. Then you had the civil rights era, right? Where everybody came together and was like, hey, man, you know what? My bad. Sorry about that. We're not going to do that again, right? And then you have the government come in and say, oh, well, shit. Now that they got equal protection, now that they're in the workforce, affirmative action, they can come take your jobs. They're on the way again. And then we kind of do this thing all over. So the spirit of MAGA has always been there. You can go back and you can say, well, shit, MAGA's been there. MAGA 1.0 was really post-Reconstruction when we had the whole, what they call it, the War of Northern Aggression, I believe is what they called it. I can't remember, something about states' rights or some shit, right? So
that's what the South called
it. Yeah. So that was MAGA 1.0, right? And then MAGA 2.0 came out in the 60s when they was like, oh my God, what happens if they drink out of the same water fountain as us? Then it's going to be the end of the fucking world. So now we're coming again. Same tired story. They're using the same playbook to scare people. Oh, it's the immigrants. They're coming in. They're taking our jobs. They're taking over everything. And eventually, Charlie Brown is going to stop trying to kick the fucking football and just kick Lucy in the fucking head. Because he's going to realize that, no matter what I do, no matter how many times you put the football in front of us, you're going to keep yanking it from us. So I just wanted to put things into perspective. MAGA is not going to die. They're just going to keep reinventing themselves, and we're going to keep doing the same song and dance. It's as American as American Pie.
Hold on, KJ, in this analogy, I'm serving Charlie Brown as MAGA, and Lucy is who?
Trump?
No. Lucy in the football is MAGA. The American public is Charlie Brown, because in the 1860s we had this big ass conflict, and we was like, hey man, damn, slavery was bad. Don't worry about it. You're good though. Hey, let's fist bump. We're good. And then all of a sudden you say, all right, cool, man, we good. And then you pull the fucking football of us, and we got 70 years of damn Jim Crow. Then you say in the 1960s, you come back and you do the civil rights movement, and you say, God damn, man, hey, we fucked up that first time, but you know what? Here it is, fist bump me. We're good. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And then you come back and you move the damn football again, and you say, oh, well, affirmative action, and you're taking our fucking jobs. So after a while, you just replaced the American public. All right, it's not the blacks no more. We're going to use the browns now, right? But you're still pulling the same damn football issue. It's the same thing. It's as American as American pie. We did it in the American Revolution, where we said, hey, man, don't go with the Brits, because if we remember properly, I think I read it in the back of a Laffy Taffy wrapper, where the British had promised African Americans, hey, if you fight with us, you don't have to be slaves no more. But George Washington was getting his ass kicked up on the Potomac and in Canada, and was like, hey, you know what? It's a good idea if you guys fight with us, because you're here with us, right? But we'll take care of you on the back end. We'll make sure you squared away on the back end. And sure as shit, not even the ink had not dried on the damn Declaration of Independence, with all irony. All men are created equal except y'all ass. So it's as American as American pie. We can't, like, it would be asinine to believe that America would then say, hey, after 250 years, we finally learned our lesson. You're good after this one. This is the last fist bump, I promise.
Fair enough. Solemn Argus, 23-month membership. One more for 2 years. That's a lot. A little mission of your own. Thanks for the membership. That's great. $2 from Dylan Bowser for the panel discussion. Is a hot dog a taco? Not for $2. We're not going to have that discussion.
Drive me crazy.
Thank you for the $2. $5 from Wise Guy Plays. They do think in decades and centuries. The Palestinian people are still talking about going back to the 1948 borders. I think the Palestinian-Israel situation is a little different, but fair. $2 from Mr. Wise Guy Plays. $10 to join the conversation. No, I like the energy right now. We're good. $5 from Unwilling T Support. What would Chaplin say to those who say we have a problem with the LDS oath of vengeance, a la his view on Islam?
Sorry,
can you repeat that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, can you mute when you?
Oh, that's KJ again.
Sorry. Yeah, it's my damn thing. I got it. I don't know why it keeps coming on.
Can you repeat that last one?
Sure. Your thing's still. Hold on. The beat.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which one it is to unplug it.
Just hit mute, KJ.
Yeah, do you mind muting, like, when you're not talking?
Yeah, I got you, man. Sorry about that. I got you. Yeah, I'll come off real quick. Give me a sec.
There we go.
Sorry about that. $5 from Unwilling T Support to say, what would Chaplin say to those who say we have a problem with the LDS oath of vengeance, a la his view on Islam?
I have no idea what the oath of vengeance is.
I don't know the blood.
Make him pay more money. Make him
blood
pay more money
atonement,
to
I
explain
think.
what it is.
Sure, if I had to guess, it'd be blood atonement. But
Oh, by the way, I wanted to bring up real quick. I don't know why you made a comment about what the first Islam mayor of New York.
Them, based on Twitter.
What was the comment about that you said? Like Mandami
after 24 years after religious motivated attack on New York, that they elected a Muslim mayor.
That's crazy. You remember when they made Arnold Schwarzenegger the first Austrian mayor? I mean, I'm sorry, governor of New York. Were they
No, he was governor of
Arnold was the governor of California.
Sorry, California. Sorry, but yeah, I just misspoke. The governor of California, and he was there for like 1,010 years. Like, since he was Austrian, was that a throwback to Hitler or whatever? Is that what was going on there? Or like,
were there a lot of Austrians attacking California?
They were attacking a lot of. Yeah, there's a lot of Jews in California. A lot of Jewish people. A lot of gay people, especially. You know, like the Nazis didn't like the gay people. They didn't like them.
No, they didn't.
No. So I just think it's weird.
But okay.
No, it is. It's a weird. It is a weird comparison. The comparison wasn't the best. I'll give you that, because I'm thinking on the fly right now. But I think it's a weird comment to say like 9/11 had anything to do with it when he was like 10 years old, right? Wasn't he like 10 when it happened?
No, it's younger. It's not about Mamdani directly. It's about the idea of the power and the willingness of people to move forward, and the infiltration, if you want to use that word, of people into these locations. Now, London has a Muslim mayor. I believe Toronto does too, but I think it's different when you're talking about a place like New York City that had direct links from a terrorist that was attacked directly. I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I do think it's very, very interesting, though, that you have him coming in. And I mean, to me, I think the bigger thing is the socialist stuff that he's pushing more than it's Islam. But I've seen quite a few people that are in New York that says, we've forgotten. So this isn't me just coming in and going, hey, you know, and I don't like the fact that he's Muslim. Honestly, I couldn't care less. I don't know if he's an active Muslim or an inactive Muslim, if he's Muslim by name or if he's a fundamentalist, if he goes to worship. When he starts saying we're going to have the loudspeakers play prayer 5 times a day over every New York City loudspeaker, then he'll lose the next election, because that stuff is annoying when you're trying to sleep. But they have every right to vote for him, whether he's. I don't think there should be a religious. What's the word? A religious.
Religious test, religious litmus test, religious requirement,
litmus test, yeah.
Well, it seems like the people of I think it actually speaks very highly of the people of New York and their recognition. You know, that like, just because somebody has this religion doesn't mean that they would hold him responsible for an attack that again happened when he was like 8 years old, and that he obviously has I've never heard Mamdani defend. I mean, I think he even condemn like Hassan Piker specifically for his comments about 9/11 and stuff. Like, I mean, the New York people, they know he's a Muslim, right? They're aware of this. They didn't forget about 9/11. They're just not holding it against him, and I think that's a remarkable thing for them.
But at the same time, the group that pushed him over were the young females, who most of them don't have. I mean, if you looked at the demographic breakdown,
women, right?
I believe it was women under 28 or whatever, just really like 70% for him. So you're talking about people that really weren't even alive during 9/11.
To be clear, though, he was running against Cuomo, who did some.
And the fact that the Republicans can't put anybody forward in New York other than some dude I don't even know his name, in a beret that just looks completely insane. That tells you the weakness of or they were just like, yeah, there's no way we can win this. So why?
Wait. Is it too late to make the joke about women voting? See, See, that's what I'm saying. If you just restricted that damn women's vote, man, you wouldn't have this problem.
Well, gosh darn it!
Good to go.
Gosh darn it! We need to get that.
Well, that's unironically, that's what a lot of them will use.
Exactly. Yeah.
and say if women didn't vote, then Republicans would be elected every single time.
Yeah.
Right, and then they would point to this metric saying if we just stop these people from voting, we can win the election every single time.
Yeah, but
And
by that
so-
argument, you could say, if we just cut off people that have college degrees, then Republicans will win every time too.
Yeah, or if we restrict men from voting, we would get Democrats every single time. Blah,
If
blah,
you
blah.
If we
stop
stop
black
Democrats
people
from voting, then
if
Republicans
you
will
stop
win every
black
election.
people
right?
from voting,
I mean,
Oh, they're trying to do
you
that.
can look at
Yeah.
any group that leans more
Yeah.
towards one side or the other and say,
Yeah.
oh,
I understand. $5 from Sarcastic Warlock, my favorite warlock. Oh, what? How sweet.
Didn't Texas just lose? Didn't Texas just lose a ruling on that about
Yeah,
trying to
on
stop
the redistricting thing, but that's
Yeah.
a little gerrymandering's a different topic. MAGA is just another Hydra head of Israel, and Lucy needs to be walled off and left to fend for herself. Thank you for the $5, I suppose. $5 from Unwilling Tea Support to explain, saying Oath of Vengeance was part of the endowment ritual of the LDS Church in 1845. Participants swore an oath to pray for God to avenge the blood of prophets. Thank you for the $5. Does that clarify to you, Chaplain?
I will say that it's not in the endowment anymore. It's never been, not that I've been in, so I have no idea what that is. So couldn't really have a comment on it. Just in
Fair
terms
enough.
of, I'm glad you got $5 out of it.
Yeah,
but,
I'm glad I got $5 more too. Maybe
Yeah,
he'll
no,
give us the
I
history,
just,
right?
yeah, it's one of
We
those
got 30
things
minutes
that
left on $5.
the LDS Church has tried to
Support
be
the Bucks.
more open about some of our historical past, and I think it's good. I think sunlight's always positive in any situation, and letting people really know what's going on, and people want that. People want to know what's really going on. It's a huge jump in subject, but like the Epstein file, I think if America can come together for the Epstein file and tell the Republicans, what the frick are you doing, and Trump, and they turn around and go, we're getting too much pressure from home, then maybe there is hope for this country that we can come together and get stuff pushed. Now, I have a buddy who's very cynical, and he said, yeah, but wait, watch what happens, because then they're going to come back and redact things because it's an open investigation. And sure enough, he called it right, 100%. So, yeah, I look at a lot of this stuff, and the MAGA stuff, I don't have a ton of faith in the MAGA movement as it is, because to me it's very much like the Tea Party or some of these other movements that have caught fire and gone off for a while. And I think it'll die down. I would hope that the people that think more like me, that they are more conservative, or even just traditional Republicans, go, you know what? Anybody that's going to be this kind of dummy who's going to be along the lines of what MAGA stands for, which let's be real clear what MAGA stands for. MAGA stands for making money for the President of the United States and those cronies that are around him. That's really what it comes down to. Because I said this back in the day, was Trump doesn't care about the American people. Trump cares about making money. And it's always about money.
I understand that from the Trump angle, but to be fair to MAGA, there are many true believers who do not take that angle when it comes to what they believe MAGA stands for. So I agree with you in that, yes, that's what has manifested and what they actually have done. But for the people who bought into that, who voted for him, who support him and support the MAGA movement, they have a very different idea of what MAGA means. And they have very different things that they want.
I'd be curious to have a conversation with somebody who I honestly, I'm not sure I know anybody who's truly MAGA. I know maybe Allie, KJ. You think Allie would be MAGA?
No, Allie's just a conservative who votes her interest. Was I beeping again? God.
So I'm not sure I've met anybody that is all in, now I've
Would
seen
you
them.
like to meet someone who's MAGA?
I know quite a few.
Yeah.
Introduce you to a
To
few.
me, what I mean is, if we're going to have this discussion, we're going to talk about what MAGA means to somebody who's a true believer. That's not me. So how do I sit there and say, this is what they truly believe and this is what they're going to buy into?
Same reason you were able to explain Islamist beliefs. Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of buying into the MAGA beliefs, though. You're kind of parroting a lot of the beliefs that they say that they repeat ad nauseum.
Just
Is
real
that
quick,
how you say that?
Alice.
Anyway,
Just real quick, Alice.
yeah.
Would you consider him MAGA?
No, I wouldn't consider him MAGA.
Why not?
But
That might be interesting. Why isn't he MAGA?
he's not MAGA because he will not unabashedly protect Trump. So, but he is repeating a lot of the things that his base says, like the thing about the Islam, about the Muslims. He repeated the thing about TDS, which I think is a truly embarrassing thing for people to say in 2025, in my opinion. I don't understand why that even became a thing because it doesn't have any logical basis to it, in my opinion.
That
I would like
started
to add-
with Bush, though. See, that was back in the day. You guys maybe aren't old enough. Hannity coined that back with Bush derangement syndrome. This is an old school one, so this is not a brand new thing. It's the derangement syndrome.
Well, maybe
Oh,
so,
yeah,
but
never
the
heard
way
that,
you
but-
used it, I think
Yeah.
earlier was
I'm
really
old.
interesting. A really interesting thing you said about how people aren't directly affected by. I think more than ever we do see a lot of direct effects, especially from this administration. Right, like we have entire communities that are kind of have to like watch behind their backs because they have ICE agents running around grabbing people off the street and throwing tear gas at children's birthday parties. And not to mention we had the overturning of Roe v. Wade directly because of a Trump presidency, and he takes all the credit for it, and we should give it to him. And this is something that directly affects real women's lives. We see the maternal mortality rate going up by like 33% or something in Texas while dropping nationally. These are people's real lives at stake, and people are seeing the results in their day-to-day stuff. I understand that, like, I encourage people, touch grass, like go outside. But I think when you talk to people, whether it's, tariffs raising prices and everyone goes to the grocery store, we all see those prices up. No one believes Trump when he said that, the Thanksgiving dinner thing, proved that, prices are way down. They're not. And everybody knows this. Yeah. And we're seeing it on a day-to-day basis. And people are rightly attributing it to the president of the United States. And it's not because we have some derangement syndrome. It's because we're paying attention.
Oh, but you're making valid points about the things. What I'm saying, the idea of a Trump derangement syndrome is everything that goes wrong is because of Trump. And that's kind of the idea behind it is this is wrong, Trump. This is bad, Trump. This, Trump. And so that's more that it's a blame when it's like, how can that possibly have anything to do with Trump? My tire blew out. Oh, it's Trump's fault. That's
what
the
people said
type
about
of thing
Biden.
you're looking at. And I'm not saying there wasn't a Biden derangement syndrome. I'm saying there's an unhealthiness, unhealthy equivalent of there's an unhealthy idea that like the people, the thanks Obama joke, right? Or the let's go Brandon. I mean, there's just a point where it's like, you guys really, like, everything that happens bad in your life is not because of the president. Like, maybe you made bad decisions. Maybe you've done things that aren't great for your life. It's not based on what somebody in Washington is doing. That said, Washington does a lot of horrible things and a lot of things that are not good for this country. But when we're talking about MAGA, and we're talking about, one thing I did want to say about Alish was, you said, I'm repeating a lot of the talking points that MAGA come with. I want to be real clear. Conservatives have had these ideas for years and years. I've been a conservative my entire life. I was 16 going, why do we tax this way? Tax is theft. We shouldn't be having this. This is stupid. And gay marriage and abortion, all that, like, the conservative talking points, to me, they're not talking points. They're things I believe. And the fact that MAGA overlaps some of them, but at the same time, like the federal government going in and investing in some of these companies, to me, I go, well, wait a minute, is this a free market or not? When the government comes in and puts in tens and hundreds of billions of dollars in subsidies to pick winners and losers, I'm just as opposed when Republicans do it in Iowa with corn as when Obama did it with solar panels in California. The government should not be giving money to corporations. So there are certain things that kind of overlap and are on both sides. KJ said they're the same side of the coin. The oligarchs thing. Oh, well, the Republicans have these oligarchs who are coming in. Well, Soros has been dumping, hundreds of millions of dollars into the other side. So we have both sides, and it's rotten on either side. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are rotten. And when Elon Musk finally said, you know what, this is ridiculous, I'm done. Oh, there's the kitty. I'm done. And he moved out and he said, I'm going to, you didn't say it? So,
Curious.
when Elon Musk left and said, I'm going to start my own party, my wife heard about it like 2 months later. She went, did Elon Musk really start a new party? And I went, well, I mean, he's talking about it. But when I hear Elon Musk pumps $50 billion into that new party, then I'll start looking at it and taking him seriously, because that's what it's going to take to have a middle ground new party that in any way breaks what we have as the two-party system. It's not going to happen until somebody like Musk or someone else. And then the problem is, well, now Musk controls that party and we don't trust Musk. If it was a blind trust and Musk said, hey, I'm going to put $20 billion into a blind trust for this party, the American party, and I don't have anything to do with it, it's a completely blind trust, I'd immediately start looking into it. But until that happens, So
Why?
to me, that's where why? Because I don't trust either of the sides. I don't trust the Democrats or the Republicans, like KJ has said. I don't trust them to do what's best for this country and for the general population of this country.
I think that's
I'm
fine.
bringing back the People's Party.
I don't. I want
Again?
to, if I can try to push back on us getting sucked in again down into this both sides debate. Like, I mean, the topic here is not like, are the Democrats equally as bad as the Republicans? It's like we're talking about like post-Trump MAGA and like what the future of the Republican Party looks like. And I mean, I think we're spending very little time actually like talking about like these rising Christian nationalist movements, the rise in again, I mean, I've heard weird stories about like kids going to school wearing "Your Body, My Choice" sweaters and stuff, and like I mean, this is like I think there's something very rotten specifically at the core of the Republican Party right now that we need to be trying to diagnose and trying to figure out. I mean, like, even from the left, like, I mean, I guess I'm always pointing to it. But like, it just feels like it feels like we're dancing around that. And additionally, I feel like you kind of did this with the whole TDS thing. Like you get kind of like a Mott and Bailey where you're saying, oh, well, I'm talking about the people who blame, Trump for their tires blowing out and stuff. Well, I mean, I hear people say this when I bring up every point that I listed out to you that you said was a valid point. I think that's more commonly how it's used, is people just complaining about things that Trump is actually doing. I think that's usually when people pull out TDS. It's not because someone goes like thanks Trump in a thanks Obama kind of echo. I just don't think this is the same thing that's happening.
So yeah, I would say that the Conservative Party died officially when Paul Ryan left. I think he was like the last bastion of the traditional conservative Republican Party.
Ryan of all people, okay.
Yeah, and I will tell you, for as cantankerous as he was principled in his conservative values. Misguided. I can always respect a person, what I'm saying, if they're principled, right or wrong. But if you stand on business and that's what you believe in, I can respect them. And when he realized that it wasn't about the business of conservatism anymore, and he kind of saw the writing on the wall, he stepped aside. So I don't believe the Republican Party exists anymore. What you have is these fragments of extremism that have been making inroads. And then you have the conservative, I guess there's 2 or 3 maybe true conservatives left. Massey comes to mind. But I think this is his last ride too. So what you're going to have is a bunch of kids who like the glitz and glamour and the instant notoriety of the MAGA movement, with none of the conservative principles under the Republican banner taking over. So you'll have a shadow of the Republican Party, but it's going to be based off of this new extremist ideology.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I want to. This is to everyone. Right now, modern conservatism, what are its principles? What is some of the top 3 principles, let's say, of modern conservatism as it manifests in the United States?
Well, that's a great question, because
everyone, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, that's a great question because it's it's no longer small government, right? Because they have more corporate interest than than the Democratic Party. It's no longer, for a while they kind of flirted with the "don't tread on me" mantra, right? But I mean, recent Republican policy has been treading on people at an astounding rate. So nobody knows, and that's a weird way just to say nobody knows. The Republican Party is in an identity crisis. For as much as they bash trans people about knowing their true identity, the Republican Party has no freaking idea who they are or which way they're going right now, and that is scary.
I'm curious Chaplin's answer to this question. Modern conservatism, the top 3 principles as it manifests in America.
Top 3 principles. First one would be lower taxes and getting out of people's pockets and leaving them alone. That's the first one. Now, I will say this, there is a paradox when it comes to that and I've thought this for a long time, the paradox of the abortion issue. Because as conservatives, it's always been, hey, people should be able to live their lives how they want, except when it comes to abortion, which I understand because it is the idea of protecting an innocent life. So, but it's still kind of a paradox of, hey, the government's not supposed to be involved in people's lives except for that one. And it's a bit of a paradox on that one. But really, the idea of a conservative, we still do want the government out of our lives. We don't want this big government. It drives me bonkers every time that the Democrats are in charge and they raise taxes and this and that. And I hear the Republicans going, oh, I can't believe they're spending taxes and doing the big, the Inflation Deficit Act and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then they get in and they go, well, now it's our turn, so we're going to spend it too. It's like, you guys drive me just insane. Because it's when we're out of power, we complain about the exact same things we do when we get in power. And there's no consistency. There's no true foundational stuff. I wish right now I could turn around and have some like really brilliant Thomas Sowell conversation of this is what the actual conservative mindset is. But if I were going to say, who would I look to say who is a true conservative, the first thing I do I'd probably go, okay, what did Thomas Sowell say? And it is a small government. It's government staying out of your business. It's treating people with love and respect and kindness and being able to defend yourself, looking at the Constitution as its core belief. But the biggest problem with the Constitution is your core belief is everybody interprets it so differently that what does it really mean? You can't even get people to agree that the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, that it means you have the right to carry a weapon or not. And then does that mean you can carry and conceal? And then you have, well, this group, I don't like that group carrying and concealing. Oh, this group can, open carry, non-carry. So even it's very much, I think, disjointed. And the conservatives, there's not a conservative voice. I wish Thomas Sowell right now was 50 years old and coming up, because maybe he'd be in a position where the national GOP would start looking at him going, maybe he's the guy.
I can give you one reason they wouldn't.
I can give you, I think we're on the same page on that one. Yeah,
I don't agree because right now I think for the most part,
Ramaswamy. I mean, look what they did to Ramaswamy. Like he was because he was disloyal to Trump. Which is stupid. I loved Ramaswamy, by the way. I thought he was great. Kooky, but I loved him. Oh, yeah. A lot of conservatives initially did because they shared his values, and then
until
why? Because of why?
Because he had aspirations for power, and they're cool with you as long as you stay in your place. But the minute Ramaswamy,
anybody who is running for president of the United States is an absolute narcissistic, just a-hole who wants to be in power. There is not a single person who runs for... go back, Mitt Romney. As much as I love Mitt Romney as a guy, he still wanted to be in charge. You have to have a level of psychosis to say, I'm the most important person in the entire world. If we truly wanted to fix, KJ, you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
We give it to somebody who doesn't want it.
Yeah. I will tell you, 47 iterations of POTUS, 47 of them. Only one POTUS has ever had their birth certificate questioned and their citizenship questioned.
By Trump.
Only
Trump
one
started the birther movement.
You know what I'm saying? Let's not kid
John
ourselves.
McCain got asked about it. John McCain was very much questioned because he was born on a U.S. Army base when his father was deployed to Panama. So there was a whole question about him too.
To be questioned about it is one thing, but to spawn an entire birther movement is completely different. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
We are what we are, and as long as we continue to pussyfoot around who we are, we're gonna have that issue.
Which is funny because the easier attack was to say that his mentor and de facto grandfather was a card-carrying communist, which is just would have been such an easier because he was. I mean, that would have been the easier thing to go after.
But the current POTUS is that's what I'm saying.
POTUS, yeah, he was a big pusher of that. Yeah.
But let's not mistake ourselves. The current POTUS's grandfather was a card carrying Nazi to the day he died. What is the standard?
You mean General Trump?
But I'm saying though, we can't, you know what I'm saying? We have this weird morality complex in America, right? Well, we'll say, we're post-racial, we're not about that bullshit. Racism is as American as American pie, right? And as long as we keep bullshitting around with it,
worldwide, man, my man, worldwide.
There's a very particular kind of racism that exists in the United States.
I don't disagree that it's not worldwide, but you know what happens worldwide? But hold on. Let me finish this point. Hold on.
But I got to push back on that one.
Here's what happens. Everywhere else in the world will say, "Hey, man, we were racist." You got Germans and Nazi. You know why they don't teach? You know why they don't teach about the Nazi movement in Germany? Because they realize it was fucking racist, right? Sure. You know what we do in America? We say, "Hey, man, that's not true." Slavery was there, but I mean, shit, they were happy. They were singing and dancing and shit, and we let them go to church on Sunday, so it's all good. Yeah, so let's not.
The entire Civil War was rewritten during Reconstruction.
But what I'm saying is, go ahead. I was
gonna say also Trump spent was it the second or third month of this term where he's focusing on the Smithsonian because they're it's depressing or something and it makes America look bad. Well, yeah, America made itself look bad by doing these things, right? I wanted to push back on a few of to talk about a few of the values you brought up about conservative. I think they were all very interesting. The obsession about abortion specifically is one that I find fascinating, considering I believe 40% of Republicans actually do support abortion access. Yet this has still become a weird wedge issue for the right, despite such a large portion of their own party supporting that. We talk about tariffs. Well, right now we have Donald Trump imposing tariffs everywhere, which are taxes, right? And these are taxes that disproportionately affect the middle and lower class. People will defend this by saying, well, the U.S. used to be funded primarily by tariffs. This is true, and you know who had the burden of these taxes? It was the middle and lower class who were consumers. People who were paying sales tax. They were funding the government, and that's what Trump is trying to do again. So that's why we're seeing prices skyrocket. And to the treating people with love and
respect. I didn't bring up tariffs. I'm a free.
I know,
trade
but
guy.
You brought up taxes. You brought up taxes, and tariffs are taxes.
Taxes.
And they're literally taxes. Okay. The last one, and then I'll yield it back because I know I'm throwing a lot out here. But we're talking about treating people with love and respect and kindness while we're black bagging immigrants and at best sending them to CCOT, maybe sending them to Alligator Alcatraz and celebrating it and thinking how funny it is. I just don't see any of these values existing in the Republican Party right now.
Well, like I said, as a conservative, there's the disconnect between what is going on federally and what's going on to the average conservative. I do think there's a difference because I can sit and I can say, if somebody is in this country illegally, they should be removed. They should go home and they should file the proper paperwork and they should try to come back in a legal way. And I have no problem with that. If you're here illegally, well, you'd have to be returned back to your place of origin. And that was the whole thing with Trump coming in and saying, what did he say, self-deport? And there were a lot of people who left. But, there's this idea of there is a rule of law, and conservatives sometimes believe in rule of law.
Exactly, selective.
Glad you were careful with that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm rolling my eyes to some degree. But, I think, borders do matter, and that's something that most conservatives would say borders do matter. But as far as the abortion goes, I do think that abortion is something that you have to in this case, it's a little bit different simply because there's the religious versus conservative. Conservative is a political idea. Religious is a religious idea, and it's your idea of life. I have friends that are very, very anti-abortion in every sense of the word. Because now me, I say, look, I'm anti-abortion, but I think there are caveats, and my church has even said that as well: rape, incest, and health of the mother. And I have friends that are Christian and chaplains that have said, nope, doesn't matter because that baby is still innocent. And it doesn't matter if she was raped, the baby is innocent, and that baby is a separate life, and the baby has unique DNA. Therefore, the baby has every right to survive. And I understand the argument. I don't necessarily get away with it because I look at it. I tell people this, and they kind of laugh until they hear why I say, because they know I'm pro-life, right? But I say I'm actually very much pro-choice. And they say, well, you're not pro-choice. I say, well, yeah, I am. I've got 3 daughters. I hope they choose not to go on one-on-one dates. I hope they choose not to go park. I hope they choose not to get in the back seat. I hope they choose not to engage in heavy petting. I hope they choose not to engage in sex. And I hope they choose, if all those fail, to use birth control. And if they make all those pro-choices, we don't have to worry about having an abortion. But I don't agree making all those bad choices. Then if you decide that you don't want the baby after you've made all those choices, now on a given, there's always going to be the anecdotal situations that come up, and I get it. But in general, I think that's the concept that most conservatives kind of look at, is if somebody is making those choices, and I've heard women just rightfully say, well, then why is it only the women's responsibility? The men should have to take care of them. Absolutely. The guy should not be able to go in, get somebody pregnant, and basically say, I have no responsibility anymore. They should absolutely be just as accountable as the woman. Now, we can talk about how that accountability comes in, but I think men should absolutely be accountable for that too.
I don't want to accidentally. I'm not trying to turn this into an abortion debate.
Yeah.
I think what I'm pointing to.
Sure. I'm not trying to either.
Before you do,
Go
let
ahead,
me
go
read a
ahead.
couple super chats and get through them. $5 from Mr. Wise Guys to say TDS is a real thing. The people that say it's not are usually people that sympathize with people that are Trump deranged or they have Trump derangement syndrome. And $5 more to say it wasn't the Republican Party back then, more Christian nationalists. I'm young, but I know that a lot of traditional liberals that switched to MAGA. Thank you for the $5. Okay, back to you.
Yeah,
Radical
I guess what I'm kind of pointing to when I talk about all these like inconsistencies and stuff in the Republican values or alleged Republican values is that despite all of these things, like the Republican Party is, at least until very, very recently, has still largely like put themselves behind Trump, right? And so I think what I'm imagining is that whatever figurehead they decide to unite around next, it doesn't necessarily matter what their values are. Is what the message I'm getting from them is that as long as these people like at least say the right things for a while, and then or until they get them to follow them, and then they can continue saying things that completely contradict these ideas. I don't know. I think that's what's interesting. So if we see the normalization of this Christian nationalism, we see the normalization of people like Nick Fuentes and stuff, then I'm scared that the Republicans are going to unite around someone even more extreme than Trump, and I don't want to see that.
Yeah, to kind of jump in here a little bit, the modern conservative principle that I see at play that is most consistently followed: own the libs.
Yeah,
that is what they want to do.
That's
they
the
don't
value.
care if they don't own anything else. They can own nothing else as long as they own the libs. It's all good. And I see this play out to different extremes on the different sides. They don't care if they win. They just want the other side to lose.
Yeah.
And they don't care if they suffer. They just want the other side to suffer more. And they will absolutely put up with policies and things that hurt them as long as they can hurt the other people that they hate too. And I do worry that we are seeing more and more of this type of thinking. And I do worry that that is the future of the MAGA party. They're like, okay, well, we didn't win this way. We have to go more extreme because they can't win. They're going to, I've seen this from hundreds of people saying they're going to kill us if we don't win. if we don't win, they're going to hunt us down in the streets like they did Charlie Kirk. They're going to come into our homes and destroy us. They're going to kill us in the trains like they did that Ukrainian lady, right? They honestly, many of them honestly believe that that is the case. And if you honestly believe that the other side is going to kill you, what does that justify you doing in response? And that's what I'm worried about. Right.
And that's where, you would see those people that believe that they look at it as preemptive self-defense, which is silly. And I agree with you. And that's where I'm saying, as a conservative, what I would like to consider a true conservative, I have just as big a problem, Radical, with those people who don't follow what they're preaching. Somebody who's Christian and is going to turn around and say, well, I don't like that person because he's black. I don't want anything to do with you, you piece of crap. I want people around me who, even if I don't agree with them, I can have that debate. KJ and I have known each other for 10 years, and we have argued on just about everything. But we can both agree the Philadelphia Eagles suck. And so we just try to find things that we have in common.
My girlfriend loves the Eagles. You watch your mouth.
So, but we can get together. We have gone to baseball games, and I'm there cheering for the Dodgers, and he's there cheering for the Braves. It's like, great, we have fun going to games and all that. And we, it's kind of funny. We were leaving the Dodgers-Brave game a year and a half ago, and as we're coming up, we went around, and there was this convention center, and there were these people coming out. They were pretty well dressed. And we're like, hey, what was going on there? And they went, J.D. Vance was speaking in there. And we just kind of looked at each other like, oh, what could we have gone in and gotten a question? What would we have asked? And it was fun for us just kind of talking about that. But I think we're unfortunately,
Mr. President,
unfortunately, we're kind of at the point in a lot of ways where even it's discouraging. But here's the other side. It's discouraging that we don't have these conversations as much as we could. But it is encouraging that right now there's 5 of us online. I don't know how many people are watching, but they're willing to have
on Twitch.
120. But that's 120 people that otherwise wouldn't have heard my opinion or anybody else's opinions on here. Some of them are going to go, oh, Chaplin, right on. He knows what, and others are going to go, Chaplin's a piece of crap. What's he talking about?
I could tell you the mix if you want.
My guess, I don't know.
It.
So I don't know what your audience mix is. But here's the thing, and this is kind of what I think it potentially comes down to. I probably didn't convince anybody on the left that I'm correct, and I'm guessing that none of you guys that are on the left convinced anybody that's on the right that you're right, because we like to hear things we agree with. That's always been the case, and that's one of the problems to me with the MAGA movement. Is that MAGA movement doesn't want to hear that Trump isn't the greatest ever, that Trump and the MAGA movement has problems. I don't know Nick Fuentes. I know enough about Nick Fuentes that I don't want to know anything about Nick Fuentes. He sounds like a complete piece of trash to me.
I talked to him once, actually.
Did you?
He was on Stardust show, and I was on. He threatened to pipe bomb my house.
Nice.
That's
wonderful person. It sounds like
great
Did
guy.
a modern day debate with him back in the day.
Yeah. So people like that. I mean, I read little snippets of like Candace Owens and go, really? Like, are we just all in on anti-Sem? Oh, the Jews control everything. And if it's not the Jews, it's the blacks. And if it's not the Jews, it's the gays. And if it's not the gays, it's the trans. If it's not the trans, it's the Mormons, right? And to me, when you start saying it's everybody else's fault what is going on with your life, then you've got a problem. And that's kind of where I say, going back to originally the president. So with MAGA, what is MAGA going to do? Because we're coming up on a couple hours here.
I'm going to scream.
I don't know, but I think and I hope that a little bit of common sense wins out. And I hope that the Democrats, if the Republicans continue and double down with MAGA and say, we are going to put somebody in that is going to carry the torch for MAGA and for all the negative things that it stands for, I hope the Democrats at least put somebody viable forward that is not so far left that that it just makes it impossible, right? I don't think the Republicans are going to put somebody that's more moderate. I hope they do. I just don't trust they will. But if it was between Shapiro and Abbott, I'd kind of go, well, at least whoever wins, we're going back to where we
What
need to
about
be, back
AOC
towards.
versus Fuentes? Who would you vote for? Nick Fuentes or AOC?
Oh,
That's a good
I didn't hear
question.
the first name. Fuentes.
Nick
AOC.
Fuentes or AOC? Who you voting for?
Oh gosh, whoever the libertarian is, I don't even know who it is at that point.
Okay.
I will flat out vote libertarian. I will waste my vote and try to get the
AOC has
libertarian
moderated
party.
so much since you got into office. I don't know. It seems...
Okay, we are coming up on the 2 hours, and I do want to respect everyone's time here. So I'm going to give each of these lovely individuals outros, closing statements, closing thoughts, where you can find them, etc. I have links to their stuff in my YouTube description. Please go and click on their links. They spent their time with us today to give us content. The least you could do is give them a follow. Go check them out. I do really appreciate you all for coming on. Just briefly, if you've enjoyed the show, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We have great shows like this all the time. Tomorrow, gang, we're going to have the conversation from a bit of a different angle, and we're going to ask, what should Democrats do when they get into power when it comes to MAGA? Should they have Nuremberg-style trials for the leadership? Destiny seems to think so. Staxium seems to think so. Fun fact, Staxium was the last guy who was talking to Charlie Kirk when he got shot. So he's going to be on the show.
really?
They're going to be...
That was the guy on the microphone?
Yes, he was the guy on the microphone.
Wow.
We're going to be talking to... also, Counter Connor's going to be on there. Counterpoints. And then we're going to talk to Prime Kai. He's going to be here too. They disagree with that. So it'll be a good show, 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. It'll be fun. That said, $5 for the Sarcastic Warlock to say, in crowds, it is stupidity and not mother wit that is accumulated, from Gustave Le Bon. Hoping for common sense is foolishness. Never back a mob. Thank you for the $5. I want to start with Radical Coder, and I want to give the last word to Mr. Chaplin. Go ahead, Radical Coder, close us out.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting conversation. I'll be honest, I'm a little frustrated. I feel like we moved away consistently from talking about the reality of what the Republican Party's like doing and facing. You know, when forgive me, I can't see your name on the bottom left here. The guy who I've talked to a lot here.
Chaplin.
Yeah.
Chaplin.
Chaplin, right? Okay, sorry. Ryan, by the way, I'm Ryan. The one of the last things you said, I appreciate. I hear it a lot from Republicans, and I trust me, it is good in contrast to the opposite. But like when you talk about like, oh, you know, I don't want these people who hate others for things like skin color and all this stuff. I mean, I appreciate you saying that, but I feel like it's at this point extremely kind of low hanging fruit. And the reality is that the Republicans are facing and normalizing people who they don't just outright like. They don't necessarily just go out and say, you know, I don't like black people. Sometimes they do, but they spend a lot of time hyper normalizing these ideas in kind of contagious and nefarious ways, and then they go out and just say it. And I'm afraid that this is the future of the Republican Party, and just disavowing racism and stuff, I don't think is going to be enough to hold them off. And I think what I would ask Republicans to do, like the moderate Republicans who think that stuff is disgusting, I'm with you. I would like to. I want to see you guys out there not just saying, "Hey, racism is bad," but like, "Hey, we can't let these people become our party. We can't let this become the future of the Republicans. We need to moderate." You know, we talked a lot about the Democrats, potentially putting up someone who's too far left for you to support. I mean, you said maybe AOC is this person. I don't see this kind of radicalism, and I consider myself like pretty far left, and I just don't see people who are this radical leftist people. I don't see them in power. I mean, again, maybe Mamdani, Bernie, AOC. This is the most far left we've got, and most of the policies that they support are extremely common, like moderate policies across the pond. Like I don't know. I am genuinely concerned about where the MAGA base is going to point their sycophantic support, because there are a lot of people who have formed around MAGA who are just focused on gaining that sycophantic support to do whatever their individual goals are. And I think a lot of those goals are really horrifying. And I don't know. I'm afraid of what we'll see, but I am hopeful that these schisms will make it harder for them to win in the future. So thank you, Wick, for having me, everyone. I'm youtube.com/radicalcoder. I have the cute little wiener dog, and also, again, clever, handsome, funny, all those things. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for showing us your wiener dog on the podcast. I do appreciate that.
Anytime.
Alice,
Wick.
go ahead.
This is horrible for me to say, but Laura Loomer said it best. The GOP has a Nazi problem. I think she highlighted that. In my own words, though, I think that the right and the Conservative Party in general needs to stop thinking in the me type of way, and they need to start thinking in the United States, in other words, the U.S. us way, because it needs to be about us, not about them. Just a thought. So we really need to take that empathy and spread it out and kind of understand that the policies are not just for you, they're for everybody in the United States. And I think everybody needs to start thinking about that. My name is Owlishness. I am only on X. I don't use my YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. KJ, please.
Indeed. Hey, man, thank you so very much for having us. I really enjoy these types of conversations, man. It's always a fun time. Just a couple of hashtags before I get up out of here. Once again, we're Two Pogues Save the World. Hashtag Life, Liberty, and Pursuits. Hashtag Fire the 535 and hashtag Get Up, Stand Up. That's all I got.
Okay, well, check them out, gang. I got a link to their stuff in my description. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, final word, Mr. Chaplin. Go ahead.
Well, first, I want to say thanks to Sarah the Raging Tomato, who reached out to me and said, hey, I have an opportunity to come in with Wick. And I believe I've seen, Ryan, you on some of her debates as well. So I have seen some things, which is good. I will say this. It's interesting to come on and be on with people who clearly don't agree with me, and that's okay. That's why I think that there's actually hope, is that we can come on and have these very, very different viewpoints. You know, Ryan says he doesn't see the radical side of that. My argument would be that's because you're part of that radical viewpoint to me. But I also recognize that Alish and Ryan, you guys both see me as probably way too far conservative, and I'm a radical. But it's great that we can sit and have this conversation, and it never devolved into name calling. It never devolved into you're a piece of crap, you're wrong. We can debate these things and have those different points of view, and we need more of that. And we need to look at people for who they are. We all bleed red. There's no such thing as skin color that defines a person. There's no such thing as somebody going in and being right for being violent with another person physically. So we can go out, vote your conscience, vote the way you want, but you know what? Give a little bit of care, a little bit of empathy towards other people. Just because you don't believe in what they believe in doesn't mean you have to attack them for that. And if we have that care, and if you're Christian, frickin' be Christian. All right? I'm Christian, and I try to love other people. So stop being idiots.
Stop being idiots.
Hey, Wick, thank you for hosting this. This has been great. It's been fun.
I'm glad you liked it. So just to be clear, 50, it's literally, I put a poll up, and 50-50 on you, Chaplin. 50 thinks you're
Good.
50 thinks you're
Seems
good.
appropriate.
It's literally like, it's pretty consistent 50-50. Anyway, thank you all for coming. We're going to end the show. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Wait, bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye,
Wick.
everyone.
else. Good seeing you.
Mahalo.
I'm gonna scream. Okay. Hey guys, how we doing? Hurry, call him a piece of crap. I honestly go back and forth on just how aggressive. I mean, like, matching tone I think is useful. I mean, I think the last thing I said there, like, successfully pushed back on a lot of the. I don't know. There's this whole thing where like people, I had a lot of thoughts about this in that conversation with, thank you, Fuzzy. In that conversation with Josh the other day, like, thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, for all your support all the time. You're the best. I'll just go and throw up another one because I'm gonna stream for a little bit longer. I want to talk to you guys and hang out, and maybe we'll hop on some panels or something. Who knows? The night is young. It's only 8:00. But like I was thinking about when I was debating Josh, like because that guy, like he's very personable, very friendly, but like the things he's saying are pretty extreme. Like he's pretty explicitly talking about disenfranchising millions of people. And not that any of these guys were saying that, obviously, or the one guy that I was really clashing with, I don't think he was saying any of that stuff. But like, I mean, I think again, I pointed out in my ending, like it felt like he kept steering the conversation away from the topic, like away from like this future of the Republican Party, this fracturing of the Republicans, and this future of what the party looks like. And also downplaying like what's happening in a lot of ways, and a lot of the both sidesism. I lose my mind whenever someone does the both sidesing thing. At this point in time, it's just like, I understand. Even if I grant that to you, like one side is just, like I mean, it's just clear that one side, the Muslim bit was wild. The thing he said about like Zoran, like he's like, I hear people in New York say, it's great. We forgot. Like, no, they didn't forget. And then he says young women young women, maybe they don't know. It's like, no, young women. Okay, this might be a radical statement. Okay, young women in New York know that 9/11 happened. Okay, like what is happening here? They didn't forget about 9/11. They're just not blaming Mamdani for 9/11. Like, look at this weenie boy. Look at him. This guy doesn't know about 9/11, but this guy can't vote. He definitely can't vote in New York, but he doesn't vote anywhere. Maybe he should get a vote though. He is pretty cute. I'd actually vote for him if he ran for office, I think. Also, good to have you here, Rosh. I don't know if you were already subbed or if you joined us during that stream, but it's, I appreciate it. I always see you around. Rosh says, it's insane to me as well because he's talking about blood feuds. Yeah, all that, and like talking about how Muslims think in centuries, like, they forgave Mamdani. I don't know. Like, wow, people hold grudges? Crazy. Yeah, and I mean, because I didn't want to go down that route. I didn't want to have that whole conversation. But like the way people talk about Israel Palestine, they talk about like, oh, this is a feud that's thousands of years in the making. Like, is it? And that's certainly how it's characterized by a lot of people. But a lot of people might believe that they're in a 1,000-year blood feud or whatever. But realistically, it's a much more modern problem. It's a much more modern dispute. Fuzzy says there are different types of Muslims as well. Yeah, different imams teach different ways to making blanket Islam hates the West is ignorant, extremely ignorant. Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe this is something I should have added. Like I feel like these kinds of conversations where there's so much downplaying, so much both sidesism, like this is also contributing to this normalization of a much scarier, more authoritarian, like more explicitly authoritarian right wing that could come after Trump. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right way to push back on that is, but I feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my my groin. I don't know. Rosh says feuds have been part of humanity ever since people decided to engage in conflict. Yeah, no doubt. As if Bin Laden was the leader of Islam. Yeah. Bin Laden, president of Islam. Josh says, I can't believe that Mamdani... I'll finish reading Josh's message. I can't believe that Mamdani is teaching our kids Arabic numerals. Talk about little Somalia Shoaib in My America. Alexander Rin, fantastic, coming in with $20, saying, if I can give some advice, you absolutely can, Alexander. Says, start polite and be slow to match energy. It makes you look not collected as him, more unhinged. Also, I think Democrats may need to stop moralizing with people that have neither morals nor policies. I think that is good advice. Yeah, I think I stayed pretty level in this one. Although I definitely was, I don't know how visible it was. I wear my emotions on my sleeve a bit, so maybe it was visible that I was getting frustrated. But yeah, no, I agree with what you're outlining here, and it is something I'm trying to incorporate more. But I appreciate it, the support. Z King says, "Yeah, I hate that facts aren't agreed upon. You can say it's biased, but at least admit the facts." Rosh says, "Also speaking of feuds, MAGA was calling for a civil war when Charlie Kirk got on." Yeah, we didn't even talk about that stuff, like the increasingly inflammatory rhetoric from like people in power, like and Trump himself talking about Second Amendment people, taking out Hillary Clinton, calling for violence at his rallies, Muslim ban, and again, these are just first term things. Hit the pendulum when you get heated. No, I can't smoke on stream. I get too I get really introverted when I smoke marijuana, and I don't think that fits well my like an on stream stuff. Brandon Mai says, "Be unhinged always." Maybe word advice. Polygraph says, "I just get tired of their BS. Don't want to waste time with all the dancing around." Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start a new goal. But thanks again to Alexander. I know what you meant. It's okay. Josh says they have perfect morals given to them by a super old book and a group of their favorite old men interpreting it. Yeah, yep. I mean, and again, we didn't really get to talk about this rise in Christian nationalism. Like, we alluded to it and we named it a few times, but we're not really talking about what it means for the right. We're not talking. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't think that guy was someone who I could like be super aggressive towards. I think I gave a good amount of pushback. At least not like effectively be super aggressive towards. Rosh says, and I also find it very ignorant of Chaplin to say Muslims don't call out the extremists. Extremism is if Muslims weren't fighting Daesh. That's ISIS to non-Western folks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really common talking point about like American Muslims, or that used to be anyway. That used to be this like long thing about like how come American Muslims don't speak out against radical Islam, and like they kind of always have. Maybe they're not talking to you about it. Like, you want them to like self-flagellate for you, basically. Z King says Paul Ingracia got put on to a new role in the Trump administration post-Test leak, and he was the lawyer representing the Tates, and Trump endorsed Tucker having Fuentes on. Extremism is normal for the right. Yeah, increasingly normal. The first time I saw the word ISIS, I was like, question mark? Yeah, I got you. Alexander coming in with $10 this time says, "Sorry, I mean more collected, and I didn't see the debate. Going to look after you're off." Okay, got it. I appreciate it then. Yeah, no, it was a pretty calm discussion. But it just, the guy apparently is like a teacher, like a relative. I think it's a recent position he got, like a high school history teacher, and like he seems like a nice guy. Like I don't think he's like an evil person or whatever. But like he was absolutely doing this kind of downplaying. There's this consistent thing where he would downplay, and like he'd talk about like Trump derangement syndrome, and he'd talk about both sides. He'd say both sides are bad, both sides this, both sides stuff. It's like, well, that's an interesting conversation, but like the topic of this panel is not are both sides bad. The topic of this panel is about like post-Trump MAGA, or MAGA post-Trump, or whatever. Like it's not really relevant to like what we're doing here. Like it's just explicitly kind of like playing defense for the modern right, which is fine, or implicitly giving defense for the modern right, which is fine. But like I'd rather be explicit, like rather just own it, like just defend. And again, I maybe a lot of these more normie like older folks, they might not know like this kind of stuff that Fuentes is pushing. They might not really be aware of this kind of like nefarious like race realism and the way they package it through like humor and memes and stuff. And where even are you, Umbreon? I don't know where you're at. I know you're screaming for me, but I don't know where you are. They don't understand the internet culture around it. Where are you? I don't. Oh, you're at the door. Oh, hang on 1 second, guys. Yeah, go ahead. Go annoy the cats. Not me. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe you're like trying to bridge that gap and try to better explain like how this stuff's being packaged. But I mean, there wasn't a lot of room in that conversation for that, I think. Yeah, KJ seemed really reasonable. I like that guy a lot. Definitely seemed more aware of the political environment he exists in. Michelle says, like, I was gaming and there was, I think, the Charlie Hebdo attack and someone was like, you're French? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, OMG, I'm so sorry about ISIS. And I was like, what's is? In French, they just call it the Islamic State. Oh, I gotcha. Z King says, hot take, the right wing has been coddled for a while. I know in the 2010s and 2020, some toxicity came from some lefties, but with the right being extreme, it's never based in anything real. Yeah, I mean, there are like things that are worth critiquing about the left. Like, I don't know, like the way he was like, oh, well, you are the radical left, so of course you wouldn't think that like the Democrats are extreme. And I'm like, well, I'm like to their, like, really, like, I think I'm to their left. Like I guess what I should have talked about is like how the Overton window. I think that would have been a good opportunity to talk about the Overton window and like how it's been shifted to a point where it makes like really moderate people like just seem like extremists. Alexander says, honestly, at this point, TDS has been proven to be a Trump divination syndrome. Yeah, exactly. Every fear people had about the first term has been realized in the first 6 months of the second. Yeah, normalize the Kamala was right. Kamala was so right. There's so many clips of like of Kamala describing things that Trump then goes on to do like during the election where she's like, well, if he wins, he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And then he's literally done it over and over. But yeah, absolutely. I like we've been proven right and then some, you know? And yeah, it usually is like projection, like from people who say it. And when he talked about TDS and I pushed back on it, like he starts saying, oh, well, when I say TDS, I'm talking about people who blow out a tire and they say this is Trump's fault, and in like a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. I'm like, this is not the way people talk about TDS. Like they say TDS when you critique Trump, critique him about the things that I'm critiquing him for right now that you are acknowledging are valid points. Z King says Democrats aren't extreme and lefties hate them. Yeah, we hate them for that. We want them to be more extreme. I mean, you know, within reason. Russia. Speaking of right wing, I think we should should treat Islamic extremists as right wing extremism as well. Yeah, totally. I think it's so interesting that we have to separate these things. I mean, I guess it's a specific kind of extremism. It's fair to put it in its own bubble, but it is right wing. Like it is a fundamentalist conservative ideology, and I think for the terminally online folks, we saw this more than ever when there was this kind of overlap between the fresh and fit folks and Sneeko and Nick Fuentes and all these people who they were overlapping and uniting like around their right-wing values. I think this is the kind of, like, when I talk about the coalition that exists in the middle of all this that I'm scared of, it's that kind of shit. It's like these people who hate women, these people who hate everyone who's non-white, and there's these people. I mean, I guess there's also the women hating thing there. These like religious zealots, I guess. Like all of these things kind of cooking around together and making a really scary stew that I don't want to swim in. I don't want to be the frog boiling in that shit. Like it doesn't. I'm gonna drown, dude. I'm gonna drown. I can't swim that well. I can't actually swim pretty well, but you know what I mean. Rosh says that whole chart that showed the increase in right-wing violence should count Islamic extremist violence as right-wing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but like they'll like these these debaters, at least, they'll like the people who have been arguing about is the left more violent than the right. These people like that Andrew guy, not Andrew Wilson, the Andrew guy who was on Sarah's panel like a week or so ago, who was talking about leftist violence. He's talking about how Islamic violence is technically, it's the left's fault because their immigration policy allows Muslims to come in. Basically, it's like, what is happening? Yeah, Biden derangement syndrome is way more substantiable. Is that even a word? Substantiable? It's a word now. All right. Yeah, religious extremists. Brandon says we should say they have TDS, Trump deflection syndrome, or Trump defender syndrome. Those are all good. I also liked what Alex said about Trump divination syndrome. Speaking of fresh and fit, says Rosh, Myron turned out to be a Yahtzee and is the least shocking thing I've seen. The biggest critique I've always had about Myron that I thought like no one talks about enough is like, this is a guy who runs a dating podcast, okay? Talking to women, young men all the time about dating and relationships. And up until recently, he had only been in one relationship for like a year. Which you're the dating guy. You're the guy that all these young men are looking up to. And Brian from whatever as well. Like these people have like no real dating experience from what I can tell. Like it's absolutely insane. But like it's their thing. That's what they talk about constantly, 24/7. And I'm not saying like it's impossible to have those conversations if you haven't had those experiences, but like, I mean, it certainly fucking helps, you know? Frogs can't be temperature choosers. Oh, clearly. TDS is a sign the person saying it has no real arguments. Yeah. Robert Paulson, good to see you, says, news item, lid on the press at White House rest of the night. No indication of when Trump will sign the Epstein bill. That is very interesting, actually. Rosh says, bro, he said he would put fat people in concentration camps. Myron being a Yahtzee is hilarious. That's wild. Alexander says, unfortunately, I think Democrats may have cried wolf a few times too early. Now that it's happening, it's being dismissed by many as more Russia hoax, and it's working still. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's a difficult line to walk, right? Like, when you're Chicken Little and the sky's actually kind of falling, like, yeah. King, and they always direct blame on a scapegoat like the Fedsurrection. Yeah, and they were so like in the days after January 6th, like they were so proud of what they'd done. Like, what's the Enrique Tarrio text? It's like, make no mistake, we did this. Like, come on, dude. So everyone following also has no idea because they know better otherwise. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And it is young men who are struggling with their relationships, either getting into them or maintaining them. And they're the ones listening to this because they're like, well, these guys, they have answers for me, right? I don't know how to combat that. Like, what, because it kind of combines like this like, hey, we have solutions for you. And also it's like outrage bait, right? It just makes a lot of like doomer pill young men who are then radicalized further to other right wing stuff, which is why I think that it's no coincidence that the Whatever podcast teamed up with Andrew Wilson, so massively, right? Calvin says, hi, I wanted to formally congratulate you on the vote debate. You did great. You had great responses to his questions and arguments. That's all, as you were. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, thank you for the kind words and for the $5. Seriously, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Let's keep it going. Just want to throw out there, we love our super chatters, by the way. But also, you know, we have memberships, guys. We have memberships. I don't think we've gotten any new members this stream, but we have some pretty cute emotes that are kind of radically underused, and maybe it might be time to kind of refresh some of these. But one of my favorites is the baby Umbreon, just fantastically cute. And also I have the Care React that I did not steal from Meta. Don't tell Zuckerberg. I definitely did not take that from Facebook. Also, Angry Jiggles is a favorite from back in the day when I first unlocked memberships. I think it was a friend of the stream, Dark Device, who recommended that we add an Angry Jiggles, and I really appreciated it. Yeah, they pardoned major criminals. Z King says they pardoned major criminals. This is the most pro-crime administration and most corrupt American president in history. I don't know much about the Nixon stuff, but honestly, because I unfortunately did not like in high school and college. Like I like in high school I didn't pay attention to history very much, which is a mistake of mine. But like I'm learning a lot about this stuff now or in the past few years. Alexander with another $10. Thank you so much, Alexander. Says it's kind of easy. The people with solutions never had a problem, and their listeners are still just as untouched as when they started. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a pretty apt description of what's happening there. It's just tragic. Oh, I don't know why that didn't apply to the goal, but we're just gonna let it. Oh, did I just start a new goal after that? How fast did that happen? I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate it regardless. Z King says, in covering up a sex trafficking story. Yeah, even more right now. What is the actual update on the there's Nightbot coming in to remind you about liking the stream, subscribing to the channel, getting yourself a membership, even gifting a membership. We love when you guys gift memberships. You get kind of roll the dice and gift a random subscriber, and they're like, oh my god, thank you so much. And you could be the person on the receiving end of that. Oh well, thank you. It's feels very good to be thanked, especially when you've done something nice for someone. I kind of want to. I've been wondering all day about when we're going to hear that Trump signed the bill, but now what was it? Robert Paulson said, news item, lid on the press at the White House the rest of the night. So, why wouldn't Trump's been talking about he's the one who asked the Republicans to go forth with it. Why wouldn't he be excited to sign this bill and clear his name? So pretty interesting. Yeah, Calvin says, Alexander, we need to see you on Sarah's panel more. I totally agree. It was great having you there. And again, I was saying to you earlier, I really appreciate the good faith pushback and people are actually it's constructive and helpful. There's just not enough of that in those spaces, even by people I Rosh says, but back to MAGA, I will say, Ryan, I think MAGA, as it currently disintegrated temporarily, especially with Trump going despite his central role. The problem is the aftermath. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what the whole panel was supposed to be about, the aftermath, but we just didn't really talk about that. We talked about how both sides are bad. We talked about how we talked about Islam. We talked about we started talking about abortion. I wasn't trying to have an abortion debate. When I brought up the 40% of Republicans agree with abortion or agree with it being accessible. I'm not trying to push to have that conversation. I'm just saying these inconsistencies are concerning because sycophancy thrives on people not necessarily kind of espousing certain values that they feel are being met by the people in power, but are not really in practice. Z King says, Scam Blondie says the files will be released in 30 days. I guess we'll see. And they found new and additional information that's being investigated. I don't know if Calvin, are you in my Discord? You guys can link up. Josh said, Sarah letting any left opinion get booted every panel and it turning into a circle jerk is rough. Well, to be fair to Sarah, right? She's not, she's letting, they can boot off anybody. It's just that her audience who spends money there, is happy to boot off the leftists. There's a common talking point in those spaces that's oh, well, the left doesn't have any money to boot people. I don't think that's true. I think the left-leaning people who have money, or besides maybe Alex, these people aren't really watching that content as much, and they're not as excited about booting people off the panel. I think there's something for some reason that's more appealing to right-wingers about kicking people off. Josh said, oh, that's the one I just read. Sorry. Z King says, Trump still has so many tricks. He can have ongoing investigations, reclassify files, omit files, and it's been known that the DOJ has been scrubbing his name from files. Yeah, I don't think we're going to... I think at this point it's going to require whistleblowers, right? And I don't even know who's there to do that whistleblowing. it's unfortunate. Like after all of this, like I mean, how are the arguments are going to go now? Like, you know, oh, the files came out and Trump's good. Trump's a good guy. He didn't do anything bad. Nothing bad happened with Trump. But like ignoring all the, and if you talk about the redactions, if you talk about the ongoing cases, you talk about all this, they'll be like, then suddenly now you get painted as a conspiracy theorist, right? Yeah, I don't trust him either. The Magenberg trial going to be crazy. Speaking of Ryan, speaking of the Magenberg trial, I've been saying, I think a lot of these, a lot of people are doing a lot of really shady shit. And, you know, I would like to see the Democrats, and I don't know if they have like the cojones to do this, right? But like, I would like to see some trials. I mean, I don't know what the convictions will look like. I'm not I'm not like a legal scholar or whatever. I don't know what specific crimes. It certainly seems like a lot of crimes have been taking place, and you know, I don't know. Do we just like let them all off the hook, like, and say, well, no, what's done is done? I mean, I don't think that's a good move, but it's gonna be a politically difficult thing to manifest, you know. Alexander with another $10. Thank you again, Alex. Says, actually, the left people don't want to boot people who are doing a great job of dismantling their own arguments. And yeah, the right loves their censorship now. Yeah, no, that's fair. The left don't want to boot people who are doing a great job at dismantling their own arguments. Yeah, hang on. I'm going to go let Umbreon in. Hello, sir. Did you have a good time out there? Come here. Come here. Oh. It's time for a wiener show. How you doing, buddy? You been fighting with the kitties? Did you win? Did you win, son? I think you won. The left people don't. So, you're saying the left people don't want to boot people who are doing a great, like the right wing people who are like just looking very silly, making themselves look silly. The left don't want to boot them. I think that's fair. But yeah, the right definitely does love the censorship. Calvin had a bad experience with Discord. Fair enough. I think I'll start another goal, but then we'll start maybe moving on to some other stuff. Let me switch my layout so I can keep my face on screen. I hate that. I don't know why my camera does this. Like whenever I join a panel or something, my stream camera gets all like shrinks in a really weird way. Oh, it says no, we don't want to boot anyone unless they're crazy saying horrid stuff. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Saudi Arabia and Qatar is it Qatar or Qatar? I hear it. People say it different ways. I don't know, but they bought Trump. It certainly seems like it. Saudi also, what's up? Apparently Saudi Arabia is like buying like Warner Brothers or something. What's going on with this? Does anybody know the lore here? Maybe I should just learn about it. Like because like the politics is starting to bleed into my superhero like my superhero slop. Qatar, okay. They bought EA. Oh, I did hear about that one, but I think there's something going on with they're doing private buybacks. What is the situation with Saudi Arabia and Warner Brothers or like DC Studios? What's going on with all this? Let's just ask AI and get like an overview. Speaking of AI, by the way, I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the stream, but Gemini 3, Google's latest model dropped yesterday, and that's why I didn't stream yesterday, because I've been going crazy building with it. It is so much fun, and it is so fucking good. Like there's stuff that I've been trying to build using AI tools for a long time. that I've been able to basically one shot with Google Gemini 3. And I'll probably do like a full stream focusing on Gemini tomorrow. So we won't go too much into that tonight. Maybe we'll see. I mean, yeah, the crypto. We have Trump. We have Trump coin. Trump coin. Trump coin. Anyway, Saudi-linked funds are circling Warner Brothers Discovery amid competing bids, but nothing is finalized. Key reports are being disputed. Short version is several bidders are vying for Warner Brothers Discovery. Trade reports said Paramount Skydance was assembling roughly $71 billion offer with support from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund and other Gulf funds, but Paramount publicly called that claim categorically inaccurate. Interesting. First round non-binding bids are due, and Warner Brothers Discovery's board reportedly wants a higher price, near $30 per share. The Saudi angle is real insofar as talks and outreach are happening, but the specific consortium details remain unconfirmed. Okay. So it's potential financing and influence. We haven't even brought up Trump's other conflict of interest and corruption, yeah, of which there are many. What are you chewing on? Do I like what you have? He found a receipt, and he was nibbling at it. We don't eat receipts. Rosh says, fun fact, Ryan actually lived in Saudi Arabia for a couple of years. That is a fun fact. Thank you for sharing that, Rosh. That's interesting. Anything you want to share with us? I don't really know much about Saudi Arabia, except for, I guess, well, haven't they recently allowed women to drive in the past few years? Isn't that like a new thing there? Also, I watched there was a Trump interview with the Saudi prince, right? Trump, Saudi prince, where the ABC journalist asked probably a pretty reasonable, fair question. Can I find like a short version of this video? Here we go.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans...
So, it was concluded that he specifically, like this guy, actually was the one who orchestrated it, or was it his predecessor or whatever?
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
No, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC.
Fake news. Fake news. No, that's real. That's real, guys. That happened. U.S. intelligence did find that. Sorry. Z-King says, OMG Ryan, only you'd get this, but when I was a kid and watched a Diamond and Pearl anime, I thought Staravia saying its name sounded like Saudi Arabia. That is funny. It was him specific. I guess she did. I mean, she said, oh, it was him. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business, but I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now.
Point, Trump.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial.
You're mentioning somebody, a journalist who was extremely controversial. Sure, I don't know about I'm sure he was, but I don't know why that matters.
People didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it. And
things happen, but he knew that. Isn't that not okay? What did the U.S. intelligence actually confirm about this? So U.S. intelligence finds Saudi Arabian prince ordered, would it be assassination, I guess? Oh my god, why can't I spell right now? I'm losing my mind. Assassination, did I spell that right? Of journalist. By November 2018, the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency concluded that bin Salman had ordered the murder. In the same month, the United States imposed sanctions against 17 Saudis over the murder, but did not sanction bin Salman himself. Why didn't they sanction him specifically? That's interesting. Rosh says, this guy's like a Game of Thrones character. Bro out here scheming and shit to secure his power, and he isn't even the king. Calvin says, Trump is a sick and very evil man. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, he has nothing to do with the business he owns. Make it make sense. Rosh says, the Crown Prince had ordered a certain group of specialists who often targets critics of the monarchy, and he sent them out to kill Jamal. Seeking says they denied it at first, then in like a third statement they admitted it, but framed it as some sort of accident. Oof. Crazy times.
And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's okay, since you asked, Mr. President,
please,
if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, you know, the families of 9/11 in America, but, you know, we have to focus on reality.
Wait, what did he say? Families of...
Things happen, but he knew nothing.
Did he say the guy's name? Journalist killed by Saudi Arabia. Name. Khashoggi. Is that what he said?
Nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like
It's
that.
okay, since you asked, Mr. President,
please,
if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, you know, the families of 9/11 in America, but, you know, we have to...
It's saying... Am I crazy? It sounds like he said 9/11. Is he saying like his name in Arabic or something? Okay, he did mention 9. Okay, I'm not crazy. No one asked about 9/11, dog. What the fuck? The gaslighting's insane. What? Nobody mentioned 9/11. Who? Why? What?
To focus on reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation.
Whether or not that's true. Oh, did Trump say something about 9/11? Oh, okay. But obviously not the question that's being asked.
Destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He know that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, you know, anyone that been losing his life for, you know, no real purpose or not in a legal way. And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia. And we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful and it's a huge mistake. And we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Okay, that doesn't really... I mean... Okay. What else is going on in the world of YouTube? Sarah going after Andrew again. Is this a sleepy tomato? The Cuckable. I saw Dusty selling Cuckable merch. It's kind of funny. He says, while Saudi Arabia, after the Grand Mosque siege, promoted Wahhabism, the likes you see in extremism. Oh, I think the on-screen chat broke. Hang on. Let me fix. Not Laws says Saudi Arabia funded the hijackers. I've heard that as well. That's my understanding. Wild times, guys. Wild times. I mean, what are we to do? I think Sarah bought one of Flo's cups too. I hope so. That's pretty funny. I guess I could. Oh, I can show you guys one thing I built. Let me find my AI studio. Any RuneScape fans in the chat? Any RuneScapers? Let's see. Where's my RuneScape thing? Ah, found it. So this is something I built yesterday. You're good, Outlaws. You said it. Calvin says, speaking of Dusty, your last exchange with him on Sarah was interesting and prickly. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting. I like debating with Dusty. I think he's fun to argue with. Well, here, I mean, instead of starting up RuneScape again, although I did see an ad today, apparently they are rebuilding their combat system. So next year, like RuneScape 3 is getting a new combat system. I never really played RuneScape 3, but I made this in an afternoon. It actually worked. Like the first shot, or I think second prompt, got like a basic system working. But I can run around. I can mine iron. I think the sorry, I have a thing to change my levels to 99 so I can do whatever. But I can like mine. It's actually kind of a nice animation. OSRS is the only way to play, or build your own RuneScape, guys. You know? So I added in multiple skills. Like I've got obviously mining, but I can also chop wood. So I even have magic trees. I think I have fire making as well. Although the fire making is a little bit ugly. Don't love it's interesting. I don't hate it, but it probably needs like a makeover. But it's pretty cool. It's not the worst effect. Like look at the way the logs light up. That's amazing. Like I didn't write a single line of code for this, guys. I didn't write a single line of code. Like not even once. Not that I'd be opposed to, but I just didn't have to. I got like my fishing spots. He even look at that. Look, it even has this little animation where the fish pop up. Like how cute is that? Yeah, King, a squirrel chewed through a wire at the Large Collider in like 2012 around Coney times and yeeted us into the Converse. Yeah, it was the murder of Harambe, I think, is the generally agreed upon moment where like this timeline went off the rails. Harambe should have still been alive, and it would have saved us a lot of trouble. The camera controls are a little wonky, but I can smelt. So I got an iron bar and now a bronze bar, and I can smith stuff as well. It'll turn them into little plate bodies. But it's cute. It even switches to an axe when I'm chopping magic. You know, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world. Was that the shift? I think it was Harambe. The meme is always that I hear is always that it was Harambe. Lesai. True polygraph. Yeah, so this is just one thing that I built. This is probably the most complex thing I built, just because of all the 3D graphics and everything. But it looks pretty clean. I love the way the animation goes, like when the rocks disappear, and also my pickaxe still doesn't like mine the right way, which is kind of weird. Oh, Umbreon's starting to cry again. So this is one thing I had fun with, and I have 5 skills. Right, I've got mining, wood cutting, fire making, fishing, and smithing. But it's pretty neat. And then the other thing that I've been working on, thank you, Polygraph. Josh says, one ape killed too soon allowed the orange ape to live too long. Damn, that's so real. Steam is seeing 50 game releases daily. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's gonna ramp up even more now. Like Gemini, Grok 4.1, even ChatGPT 5.1 are all like pretty remarkable at coding. The next app I'm about to show, which I showed a little bit earlier in the stream, but let's see. Let me open up my Gemini 3 workspace. I actually built this. So the first instance of this I made in using Gemini. Oh, by the way, Google also dropped like a brand new like a new Visual Studio Code fork. So I built this this workflow storyboard. I used to have something kind of like this. Umbra, come on. I'll let you out. Don't worry. Come on. I don't want to deal with you right now. I won't let you free. Oh, hang on one second. Let me see. Okay, there we go. So I have one. Here's one like large workflow that I created. So what it does is like these nodes kind of at the start, they have like some JSON, like some JavaScript. For those who don't know, JavaScript orientation. Wait, I'm sorry, JavaScript object notation. I don't know why I started saying orientation there. JavaScript object notation. So just setting like different properties, whether it's weather, tasks, like some signal metrics, I guess, and various stuff like that. And then it sends that data to these like little widgets, and then it combines all those widgets here with the widget library composer, and then finally it makes it into a working app. So you see these are turning green as I go. So it ran, and now we can see the HTML here, but I can switch it to preview. Uh-oh. No, render HTML. What is going on here? Oh no, I'm so disappointed. It must be the recent my recent updates that broke it. Okay, hang on one second. Let me import a different workflow. Oh no, so I changed the system so that I can drop HTML files like in. So for example, let me find just a random HTML app. I didn't know this broke. Maybe you guys are gonna see me troubleshoot in real time. Okay, let me clear the canvas, and I can just drop like I made this PowerPoint app in like with Gemini a while ago with the older version of Gemini. Here, let me expand my canvas. But I can like run my little HTML apps on the canvas as well. This is some fun I've been having. And I can export these like, and I've been using, what I'll do is I'll take like one of these little single apps that I made like a while ago, and I will break it down into one of these workflows so that I have like all the data split onto the left, and it builds up the little widgets. And it's, I don't know, it's a work in progress, but it's something I spent like a lot of time yesterday on. The main thing that is one of my favorite tools that I've used many times on screen or on stream before is this transcript getter. Here we go. So the idea is that each of these blocks can like run some JavaScript code. So like this first one gets data from my clipboard. The second one calls an API, or rather wraps the data from the clipboard to prepare it for the API. And then it fetches a transcript. So basically this expects a YouTube URL. So if I click on, Here, Theo saying that Gemini 3 Pro is the best model ever made, which is true. If I copy the link and then I run this, we'll see it gets the... Uh-oh. Oh, I'm not running. Keep running into issues. But I know why this time. It's because I'm not running my back end that gets YouTube transcripts. So let me just fix that. Bash. Here we go. Now if I run this again, there we go. Now it runs. It gets the transcript, and now I have that transcript, so I can then go to Gemini, for example. And you guys have seen me do this process a lot, probably, if you've been around for a while. But now we have Gemini 3, so the apps are like way cooler. But I'm gonna say like build a custom, interactive, colorful app conveying the information in this transcript. I just paste it, and you see I have the whole transcript of that Theo video, and it's going to build something. We're going to see what it does. Just look at the performance data. It sounds like it's much better than the old one. Are you talking about Gemini 3? Yeah, it is. And just like, just from a user experience level, perspective, I would say, like, as someone who uses these models like daily to code tools and stuff, like I use this all the time. I think it's a remarkable step forward, and I think it's a good. It's for all the AI doomers and stuff, and the haters, who like think that it's like leveling out. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's not such a leap that like a bunch of jobs are in danger tomorrow. But it's a big enough leap that like people who are using these to get stuff done are going to get more stuff done faster. And then making stuff with Grok Imagine. Yeah, Grok's also really good. Grok 4.1 just dropped. It's pretty good. I asked it about Radical Coder, and it couldn't find stuff like it couldn't find my recent streams. So I was a little disappointed in that. But also Gemini or Google has like an AI search now too. So like if I go to google.com, there's now an AI mode. It's funny. It knows the kinds of things I'm looking up. I think it's thinking about Legend ZA. That's kind of funny. Uh-oh. Umbreon just got attacked by a cat. What happened, buddy? Did he scratch you? Are you okay? We've got our boy. It's been there for a bit on Google. I think this one, well, there being AI in the search results has been there, but this is like a new interface. I work with a robot daily, and I had to correct every single fucking palette it made. They were all missing at least one nail. Yeah, look, I'm not here to tell you these things are perfect. They have a lot of problems, especially in the real world. Yeah, I agree with this. They've screwed up hiring. Yeah, like there are a lot of people who are overestimating what AI can do, and underestimating it. I think it's from both sides that's happening. I think this specific one dropped yesterday. Like this new interface and stuff dropped yesterday. Yeah, it is good they're not going to replace us. I agree. I was watching this video of a robot like running into a mirror in this guy's house. I think he was like a YouTuber or something. It was so funny. I wonder if I can find that. We do have 3 minutes left on the goal. I might call it for a bit. I don't know if I'll come back on later, but I might end it if we don't meet that. You guys probably don't want to find out, do you? We'll see. Oh, it's a CR. Here's our Gemini 3 Pro. This is based on Theo's video. So if I'm scrolling through YouTube and I'm like, I don't want to watch Theo's video, I don't want to give him my watch time because I want to be the most radical coder on the internet, and he's a good coder and he's a pretty entertaining guy. So I want to rob him of my view. I can steal his transcript, which actually still gives the video a view, and pull it up into its own web app. Gemini 3 Pro, he calls it the quirky king. Excellent at UI, killer benchmarks, but brain dead moments included. I think that's probably fair. We're entering a new era where Gemini 3 Pro is the new leader in AI. I agree with that. As someone who uses it again like on a daily basis and who's used Gemini as well for a long time. I mean, just look at like if you guys have seen me build interfaces with Gemini for a while, like this looks similar to what I've made, but it's just cleaner. It's just cleaner. It's like it's simply a better designed application. Some of the really crazy stuff I've seen is the 3D stuff. I mean, like I was showing you guys earlier, like this game is, I mean, it's beautiful. It's a whole ass RuneScape game. And look at the way he wobbles. It's so cute. This is made, I think, in TypeScript and React. It's going to replace pencil pushers. It's certainly going to modify how pencils are pushed. That's for sure. Yeah, spoiler, it's really good at UI. Yeah, absolutely. Best model for one-shotting interfaces by far. It's not even close. According to the Omniscience Index, it's very smart when it answers, but prone to making things up or locking itself in a box. Interesting. Hallucination rate of 88%. So wait, maybe this information that we're getting is not even actually in his video. That's really interesting. ChatGPT 5.1 is remarkably good. Like they've really come a long way when it comes to hallucinations. Like, cause I'll listen to, I'll use ChatGPT 5.1 to break down my streams like after the fact. What makes Gemini the best? Well, for starters, the UIs are just like phenomenal. Like look at all these different like features and like widgets that are just like, it's just so clean. It has a really good eye for design. It is fast as well. I think it's very it's actually less efficient cost wise than Claude Sonnet. Well, I guess here's one way we can kind of compare this, right? So I'm going to copy this prompt, okay? And like we're looking at this app that I made. It's nice, it's beautiful. It's conveying all of this information from Theo's video. Is that a bug? Wait. No, it's just these are a little bit off center. So it's not perfect, right? But let's open up. I think I am using the paid version, but but you can use I mean even ChatGPT 5 is free to use now. And I think Gemini, if you go to google.com and click AI mode, it uses Gemini 3. So you should be able to access Gemini 3 without like paying anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch, if possible. Can I switch to Gemini 2.5? I actually don't know if I can turn it off. Umbreon, come on. Here, let me go back to this. I'll start model Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'm just going to build something here. It's probably going to take a while, so we'll come back to it. But we're going to see like how it compares. His little whines always sound like a kitty at first. Yeah, for sure. Brandon says, I love talking about AI, even though I don't know shit about it. What are your thoughts on when we'll reach AGI or when things will get super weird? I mean, I think so. Things are already kind of weird with like AI video and AI coding and just AI generation in general. I don't know if I believe in AGI. I don't know what that... Like, I think people like disagree on what that even means. I don't know what we're looking for. I don't know what the metrics are. Hang on. You are such a whiny wiener. No. No. You're going to hang out and look cute while I answer this question, and then I shut down the stream for now because we didn't meet the goal. It says his little nose whines always sound like a kitty. First I read that. Sorry. Don't believe that it exists now, or that I just don't know what the I just don't know what we're even pointing to. Like, I think things that we might call AGI in some contexts like can already exist, and in other contexts are like never gonna exist. I don't know. I feel like it's too broad of a phrase. But maybe that's like the thing that I don't think is gonna happen. Sentience? I don't think that's what most people mean by AGI. I feel like when people say AGI, they're just talking about like being able to do any like random thing that like a human could do in theory, or like be put in a situation that like a random human could be put in and navigate appropriately in the same way a human would or could. I think that's generally what people mean by artificial general intelligence. And I just don't see it. I definitely don't think we're anywhere near it if that's what we're pointing to. Like, it's really good at a lot of things, but it's really bad at a lot of things. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about it. 650 million users for Gemini, but I don't know how they're actually counting the people who used it once. I don't know. Oh my god, I haven't done my Duolingo today. There goes that whiny wiener again. Oh damn, it's actually building a bunch of stuff out. This is actually probably going to be more complex than what I built earlier, because it's using like a bunch of different. It's using an AI Studio instead of just the chat interface. So this might not demonstrate what I was trying to earlier. Gemini 2.5 chat interface. Can I just find it? Try and Vertex AI. Here, Gemini 2.5. Tools. Here. Failed to submit. Oh, it needs me to set up an API for that. Never mind. I'm not going to do it right now. We should see what Grok thinks. I guess one way to compare this, I guess I can do something similar by pulling up Grok. Like here, let's say, let's paste it in. Grok is fast. I'll give it that. Grok is, I like the way Grok, like, it doesn't, maybe it's because I'm on the free tier of Grok, but it doesn't think like at all. It just immediately dives in and starts coding it. So again, this is what Gemini 3 made. Not AI slop. The writing quality is surprisingly human. Poor guy. Hi, Neva Under Pressure. You hear Umbreon groaning in the background. He's not groaning at you. I promise. At least as far as I know. I mean, I don't know. Did you talk to him? Bonus optional. Interesting. Wait, so I should be able to run this one already. See, it's not ugly, but like, I mean, look how weird that chart is. Like, it's a nice little bar chart, but like, why is it designed like this? Like, the kinds of widgets are way more limited here. And and it throws this little celebrate thing, which is cute, but like, what? And that's it. As opposed to Google Gemini, which made these 4 different segments, and each one is like a complete dashboard. There's so much more variety in like the interfaces. Compared to Grok, meh. That's it. So I don't know. I think Gemini's just like, as a user, it's just, it feels really good. Like when I'm coding with it, or like vibe coding, I guess. I feel like way more than before. I type in a thing, I describe a thing I want, and it does exactly what I'm asking it to. Same with ChatGPT 5.1, by the way, using Codex, the Visual Studio Code plugin. It's just, I don't know, like it does most of the time exactly what I'm trying to do. Grok is just text mostly. Well, I think they're both. I think Grok and Gemini 3 are actually multimodal. So in theory, they should both be able to handle stuff like that. Oh, did we get it? Is it done? It's still. Yeah, I mean, so this is the regular. This is GPT or Gemini 2.5, and it's seemingly couldn't even build what it was trying to build. Like, it seems to have just broken. But Gemini 3 made this beautiful dashboard. I mean, that's a very simple example. Like I said, tomorrow I think we're gonna do like a deep dive into build, like how to build stuff with it, and we'll may have a lot of fun. But for now, yeah, I think it well, Gemini actually is probably the leading for actual engaging with video, like, because it can actually watch a video. Like, if I just copy this, I do my whole thing where I grab the transcript, right? But I'm probably doing overkill now. Like, if I just paste this in, like, build an app out of this video. Like, it'll actually watch the video. No, Grok is I think there's like a mini Grok or something that's also really good at coding. Like, Grok is supposed to be really good at coding. I mean, Elon definitely praises it as a really strong coder. All of the LLMs are kind of designed to be pretty decent at coding. Okay, it's just suggesting it's like outlining different scenes. So again, it's look at this is how it kind of planned out. It's different like sections and how it did it. It's similar to how it did in the other one. It's interesting. But anyway, I'm getting kind of cooked, so I'm going to probably go eat some food. I could eat a little bit, and let me raid you guys somewhere. Let's see, who do we got? I think Sarah just went live. I might send you guys over there because I don't know if she's doing an open panel tonight, or. See, Erin's live. She went live a little bit before me. So she's probably not going to... Well, I don't know. Maybe she's still going for a while. Denizen says, ew. Baxter Boy coming with $5 right at the last second. Thank you, Baxter Boy. I'm still probably about to end, but I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you always for your support. Z King says 6'7", which is true. By the way, you guys know it takes 6'7" or 67 senators to pass a bill that was vetoed by the president. Rosh says, also, Ryan, I hate the new YouTube naming system. Me too. I wish there was a way to turn it off. I've heard people say there is. I've never been able to find it. I don't know if I believe it. But if we find one, I will obviously turn this handle off. But that is what we're stuck with for now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna send you guys to Erin. I don't know if she's gonna even going for much longer, but whatever. Love you guys. Drink water. Play with your wiener so it doesn't whine. Yeah, tell Erin learning is radical and all that jazz. All right, okay, bye.